Hello, my name is Rich. I use the he, him pronouns. You're watching my YouTube channel where I play awesome tabletop role-playing games with friends. This is the second of a 4-session series of MoonPunk, which is this really cool PBTA game, kind of PBTA version of The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. Harsh Mistress? Easy for me to say. Behind line. And I've said it in Star Wars because that's what I do. As part of Star Wars Saturdays, this 3-year-long anthology series I've been running for the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is a community of online tabletop role-playing game fanatics and friends who like OSR, small press, and indie tabletop RPGs. So every month I choose a different RPG. None of them are officially Star Wars things. I'm dorky that way. And this one is MoonPunk. I've reskinned it only slightly, so it's got a lot of the punk aesthetic. And what I've decided to do with the setup, which I'll briefly describe, is that while MoonPunk is supposed to be kind of a 50s idealized, going to a lunar colony type deal, I've reskinned this to Star Wars. Our timeline is during the Mandalorian TV show. Have you seen that? So it's just after the original trilogy when Palpatine was killed irrevocably and is totally dead, but there are still Imperial remnants, and the largest of all Imperial remnants is the slice of sector under the auspices of the warlord of the Empire, a man by the name of Zsinj. And on the very, very edge of that empire is a particular planet called Belthu, which Belthu is known for its mining companies. And there's a coalition of them, and the corporate executives are effectively oligarchs controlling Belthu. And this game is set on Woth, which is a moon of Belthu. It's kind of a prison-y planet. Like, people get sent here, people come here to work. It also has mining operations. There are different minerals that are found on this moon, and it's a little cheaper. There are lunar domes set up, and there is an Imperial presence here, but officially Belthu is not part of the Imperial remnants. It's dancing the line. It's kind of that borderline states and during the U.S. Civil War where it tried to play footsie with both sides for some point. But there is an increasing Imperial presence. There are stormtroopers here on Woth, but there is officially a civilian authority who control things. The stormtroopers are the peacekeepers, friends. They're just here to help out. They're authorized to keep the peace and all that, quotation mark stuff. We have some safety tools that I want to go over briefly, and then we'll go around the horn and introduce our newest punk and integrate them into the group. So we have lines, which means we are not interested in this content. The lines are harm to animals, harm to children, and sexual assault, violence, or coercion. None of that exists in our world. We're not interested with it. Veils are things where could be okay, but when we introduce it, we're not going to shine a light on it. We're going to quickly fade to black whenever this comes, if it does. And the veils are homophobia and sexual content. Oh, by the way, players, if I could direct you to the safety and roller tab, I added a thing called romance options. That's just so I know. So check it if you have seen it but aren't interested in any of the options. And if any of those options do interest you, go ahead and click that. I'd appreciate it. And then we have Ask First. That safety tool is contextually, this could be okay, but please, before you introduce it, check in with the table. The Ask Firsts are slavery, racism, speciesism, and midichlorians, which means, hey, if you're about to say that your M count is really high, please check in with the table and say, hey, is it cool if I bring in midichlorians, right? That's how it goes. So hopefully everybody will remember that. And if any of us step over the line and flub, please just gently remind that person, or if I don't catch it, shoot me a note, whatever. I'm the, facilitator. I'm the authority, as the GM is called in this game. So I'm happy to take that responsibility. And then layered on top of all of our safety tools, we do have the X card, which means, hey, I didn't realize this would come up, but it bothers me. Or this normally isn't a thing, but today is not a thing I want to deal with. Any reason whatsoever that makes you feel unsafe or just uncool with what's going on. Just, hey, I need the X card, mention it, drop it into chat, but make sure that I see it because I don't always read the chat religiously because I've, got other wheels firing. And then what happens when you X card is we'll pause for just a moment. I'm going to check in to make sure I know what was X carded. Even if it's really obvious, I do like to say, did you just X card the guy pulling out all of that person's teeth in front of everyone? Seriously, I've been X carded on teeth. And then if you say, yep, that's the thing, it's gone. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to explain why. It's hard enough to X card. I get it. There have been times where I was like, do I X card this? Do I let it roll? Trust me, just X card it. It always makes it better. And if you do decide to let something roll for whatever reason, and you get to a breaking point where you're like, yeah, no, seriously, this is too much, you can still X card. You have not obviated the ability to X card a thing because you didn't do it right the second it happened. Right? It could be even a thing that's happened for a bit and it just sneaks up on you for whatever reason. You can still X card. So that's enough talk about all the safety tools. Hopefully everybody is comfortable with it. I am very comfortable with everybody. Utilizing it's only ever made my play better. And just knowing that that tool exists helps me a lot to know that there's at least that trust between us. It's you as people are more important than the game. I said I was done and I kept talking. I'm shutting up now. Jason, welcome to the game. I'm so excited to have you as a MoonPunk today. If you could, please quickly introduce yourself and then tell us about your character, especially how to pronounce their name.
Sure. My name is Jason. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing the short version that everybody uses is Dr. Zardra. They use they, them pronouns. I may stumble on that myself, but I will. It's one of the reasons I sometimes play they, them pronouns is so that I get better. And Dr. Zardra's full name is Dr. Zardra Zazigam because Chiss. So I have the advantage of having listened to the entire previous podcast and having a wonderful world and relationships in which I can insert myself and a week to think about it. So I have a leg up on everyone else. But like I often do, it means I wrote stuff down. So I'm going to just read what I wrote, make my life easier. Dr. Zardra Zaz Igam is a Chiss botanist who used every credit they had to help fund and build the co-op farm, and their partners help educate them in the ways of Woth. Their educated and aristocratic tone betrays them as an immigrant to the broken streets they call home. Few know the doctor's full background, they just know of that their efforts keep people at the bottom from starving. Dr. Zardra is one of the rare willing immigrants to Belthu's moon. Etta Gast used some of Dr. Zardra's research, a type of psychotropic mushroom, to develop the drugs used in Project Funeral to brainwash sleeper agents. Dr. Zardra came to Belthu both to atone for their part in the project and because many of the first test subjects came from here, and they would do what they could do to begin unraveling the threads of that empire. Dr. Zardra believes that the first tenet of revolution is survival. This can lead to the misperception that they are averse to conflict, which isn't the case. While they prefer to play the long game, they are disinterested in being a mere observer. Their devotion to their cause and acceptance of potential repercussions is absolute. And Dr. Zardra is a Chiss with severely beautiful features, blue skin, red eyes. Their hair is uncommonly long and unruly, though Dr. Zardra normally keeps it bound up above their head, and they typically wear very clean white clothing, either lab gear while working or semi-formal attire when not. They have the number 87 tattooed on their arm in code because it represents the 87 test subjects from Project Funeral who came from Woth. And then the character is the lab coat class. No charisma whatsoever, -1 presence. Cool 2, smarts 2, bones -1. I have apprenticeship. None of the people on Belthu, or rather Woth, actually taught Dr. Zardra how to do botany, but they taught them how to survive on Woth. Because nice. One of the things that comes up in the way I wrote it is that Dr. Zardra was used to technology making sense and being orderly and to code, and nothing on Woth is to code. And it throws everything off. So their lab is a co-op. So anytime I use the lab, I have to basically take a favor that I'm going to owe back. I have would you hit someone with glasses, which means no one can hit me until I hit someone else. I have actually, which means I can roll plus smarts to influence someone as long as I sound smart, even if I make stuff up. And I have what's happening, Doc. So when someone asks me for help or expertise, I give them +1 forward. And if they follow my advice, I get an XP. And I also have my agriculture lab is listed down on the bottom. It's a hydroponics lab with grow beds, plumbing, fertilizer, 2 large silos for storage. And the theme song I chose was Welcome to Paradise by Green Day. Yeah, we had talked, I didn't put this in the history, but my co-op is specifically providing the food for punks with lunch. And at the end of the last episode, Stephen mentioned Nully was going to have a secret grow bed so that they could try to make Alderanian ale. And I'm like, oh, that's probably hidden in my stuff. Whether or not I know about that, I don't know. But
That would be fun.
And then do you want me to jump right into the links?
Let's take a moment and go around for everybody to introduce their characters, and then we'll circle back to you, Jason, for Dr. Zardra's links ideas that you have. So let's start from the right, heading towards the left on the character keeper, which means that Stephen, if you could introduce yourself and remind us about your character.
Hi, I'm Stephen. I use the pronouns he, him. Today I'm playing Newly, uses the pronoun she, her. Newly is a techie. She has a cybernetic left arm. She also has a droid R8. She has a tech shop. She's trying to keep things repaired and, working on Woth. And she is Alderani and was actually on a ship in transit whenever the planet was destroyed. And that affected her greatly in that all life and everything that belongs is transitory. So get what you can while it's good. And she just kind of clinks around and tries to make her way through life.
Cool. Thank you. Will, you're up next.
Hi, my name is Will. My pronouns are he, him, unlike those of my character, Vasya Besh. Vasya Besh is the politician. She has come up through the ranks of Beshtech, a minor corporation that is part of the civilian administration of Belthu, with its various corporate private outsourcing sort of things, hands-off imperial government. Yeah, and Vasya, it's a minor company, but Vasya knows a lot of people and is determined to free Belthu of the Imperials, and, doesn't really see any reason to join the Republic either, frankly. But B7, Woth, is where it can all start.
I love that. Cool. And then last but not least, Francisco, if you could introduce yourself and tell us about your character.
Hey, hello, I'm Francisco. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing the Deveronian Tassa, which is just a nickname, but that's what he goes by. He also uses he, him pronouns. Tassa is a rebel at heart and never officially joined the Rebel Alliance, but he has just been causing trouble for the Empire for a couple decades now. And he would go from planet to planet and just get kicked out of one planet and just go to another one and rabble rouse there, and then get kicked off to another one and rabble rouse there. And he's never been killed because he always espouses his principles, and so far he's gotten away with not getting executed because he'd be a martyr. So he finally got sent to Woth, which is, like Richard said, there's part of this planet that's like a penal colony, right? And so he got here never to leave, because once you're in Woth, your bone density gets all jacked up and then you can't leave. So he is the muscle of the group, and his theme song is "I'm shipping up to Boston," and just like the song says, he has a wooden leg / metal leg that's a prosthetic. And the first thing one would notice about Tassa was that Devaronian horns have been shaved down for punishment by the Empire, but he has chosen not to grow them back as a sign of rebellion.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. So back to Dr. Zardra. You had looked at some links. What links would you like to
Sure.
suggest out between the other characters?
Again, I had the advantage of listening to a whole episode and getting to know the characters. My first one I had written was for Tassa, actually, which was "You secretly pine for this person." And I have Dr. Zardra's trip to Belthu was inspired in part by their admiration for the Devaronians' public repudiation of the Empire. They know Tassa is no leader, but finds their passionate idealism an intoxicating inversion of their own cool reasoning. So if you're down.
Cool. Is that just admiration in like a friendship context, or actually like romantic context?
Up to you, because I didn't see whether or not you had filled out the romantic safety tool yet.
Yeah, I don't know what I put down, but I find that very interesting. I think that would be cool, but Tassa is probably like way too clueless in that, you know, in that department, or slash maybe like too busy just being in his head about his principles, etc.
Yeah, I am happy to have it not like it could be romantic at some point, but for Dr. Zardra, Tassa's kind of like a forbidden dark chocolate, and Tassa's just utterly unaware of it.
I actually really super love that interaction. You know, we don't know where the game is going, and we're playing to find out. But the first thing that reminds me of is if we get an opportunity to set up a scene where like things are falling off around us, and then Dr. Sarda like expresses her love for Tassa. I think that would be super cool. But again, we're playing to find out. I'll just throw that out there. Cool.
Cool beans. So for Vasya, I put, "You save the life of someone they know." The food supply of Beshtek was generally short of nutrients before Dr. Zardra arrived, and was especially poorly suited for a chiss like Toro. The resulting scurvy-like symptoms laid him up for a week before Dr. Zardra recognized the issue and provided the necessary supplements.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
You could say no, man.
No, I was just thinking I like the idea of you providing food for here, but I feel, you know, I was going to make it broader, but then it occurs to me that that's kind of what Punks with Lunch is, right? So I don't want to double step on that particular theme. So I guess it is a case of
well, I mean, since Zardra provides food for Punks with Lunch, we could make it broader if you think that would apply a little better.
I just think that because that makes me then Vasya Besh more part of Punks with Lunch than.
I'm happy to do that.
You know, so that this is more of a personal relationship. I think that as part of your thing, I agree with the chiss. I was just thinking it out loud, you know, as I went through it. I like that you.
If we change it to Punks with Lunch, why don't we make it? We can have a specific NPC who was saved as a result of this that mattered to you, which in turn.
Oh well, no, well, this is it. I was saying in that there isn't a specific NPC that you saved because Vasya Besh doesn't really, you know, you help the people. Which is why she owes you, because that's Vasya Besh's deal, basically.
She's the worst punk. No, I'm fine with either way.
Yeah, you saved the life of not just someone I know, but lots of people I know.
Sure, we'll say it's
many people I know. Yeah,
that's fine. I'm just gonna make a note to myself, and I am happy to do that. And then it's Newly. So Newly said the one I had down was, "They helped you clean up a lab accident you had. Tell them what they did for you." And I said, "Tapping into the Belthu power grid is not an easy task because literally nothing is up to code, and any given lead could be hooked into a faulty conduit. One might just cause the loss of power for longer than anyone wants on a moon base. Without Newly Stas, Dr. Zardra would never have gotten the power back on, much less gotten their laboratory up and running."
Yeah, perfect. Do you know which dome your lab is in?
Whichever one Rich says. I know that there is an agriculture dome. My thought was that the farm probably isn't, because the point of it is that it's a co-op that has numerous people going in and out. So it's probably not there.
And I bet the agricultural dome is like, you know, it's like a landlord's paradise, right? Like the corporations bleed you dry because it's the best place for the crops and everything.
Mine is the equivalent of rooftop gardens, only obviously it's not a rooftop garden.
I mean, would it be fun to have it on the Nannykins Dome?
Yep.
The one known for its vibrant queer community. You just happen to have a rooftop garden co-op type thing there.
That works for me.
Cool. No way. Rooftop Gardens is another song that Tassa wrote. That's so good. It's like one of those like thoughtful punk songs, you know, where they're not completely screaming, but the way Tassa does it is screaming.
So yeah, in theory, I could have put the entire dome at risk, but thanks to Newly, everybody's okay. We're fine. We're all fine here.
How are you?
So, Steven, you're good with that?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Good. So let's circle back around to see what links folks want to point back to Dr. Zardra. Let's start with Tassa.
I was not looking at my links. Could you loop around back to me?
Yeah, no problem. No problem. And actually, I think I hid a few rows. No, they might be unhidden. Yep, they're unhidden. Cool. What about Vasya? Do you have any of your links you want to point to Dr. Zardra?
Yeah, I think we have intertwined interests, which is to make Woth self-sufficient, to put our reliance on the Imperial's control of imports and on the corporate control of the agri-dome. You know, you want to feed people. I want people to be fed because it's hard to fight a revolution on an empty stomach, right?
Works for me.
I love how Vasya doesn't see people. It's all like the movement. It's very.
But the movement's made up of people, Rich.
Yeah. I mean,
such a Vasya response. I love it.
In fairness for Dr. Zardra, Woth is step one of the ultimate long-term 20 gajillion chiss plan to undo Warlord Zsinj's empire.
I feel like Dr. Zardra is maybe more New Republic Rebel Alliance sympathetic than Vasya is. Like,
Dr. Zardra's down with whoever will dissipate the thing that abused their work.
Nice. What about Nully? What do you have to point back to Dr. Zardra?
Yes, I actually have two potential things. So it depends on how Zardra. So what I'd like to point this towards is the growing of the Alderani wheat. Yes, and so the question is, you know, the two links that I have is they help you out to get hard to find items and ask them how, or they're your neighbor and they hate it. Ask them why. So do you like it or do you hate it? Right?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that possibly hate it.
Great.
So if I'm helping you out with it, then I'm constantly incurring a debt because of the way my lab works. I would be always, every time I grow you wheat, I'd be making a debt. And that's wheat that's not going to feed people or support my long-term plan. So instead it's a personal commercial opportunity, which in no way fits into my plan.
So let's flesh that out and basically say, so I was looking around and nearby whenever the damage happened that started to shut down the power. I repaired it, and as a payment of that debt, you said, great, you can have this little plot here.
Yeah.
The problem with Alderani wheat is it is
sucks all the
insidious.
freaking nutrients out.
Well, it's insidious and spreads, right? So
Like
you constantly have to keep it out
Yeah.
but we made an agreement, so it's one of those things, you just hate it. Yeah.
Yeah. I end up having to cut it back and give you the wheat anyway.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like that. Sweet. Let's circle back to Tasa. Do you have a link?
Yeah, before I set up a link, I want to ask Vesia. Vesia, I want to make sure that I've understood how you've been playing your character, Will. Is it sort of like she is a person of the people and she is looking out for the people's best interest, but is Vesia still looking out for number one in the end?
Oh no,
No, she is all about the people.
she's all about like self position is only there as a tool to
Okay.
make it better for everybody else.
So she is selfless. Okay, cool.
Yeah. But you
like-
can't do much if you give away all of your power and your thing, right? Like,
Oh, yeah,
this is the balance between punk and power, But like she's got to be. She's the most acceptable. That's why she's the most acceptable face, right?
Like the leader from Les Miserables, the person who's in charge of the student revolution, who mocks people for having interests other than revolution.
A bit like that, yeah. Although I think that she's got more of a carefree attitude than that.
Nice.
Cool. Okay. All right, Doc. I think that you and I played the Jarek. It says here you share a hobby or interest that you don't want other people to know about. And I think you and I have like long sessions of Dejarik, and even though you are way smarter than me, I am somehow a really good Dejarik player, right? And I picture like a very brutesque, like almost thoughtful gorilla like playing this game on a table with you. And then I'll ask you, why is it that we don't want other people to know, or maybe why is it that you don't want other people to know about that?
Well, I'm pretty sure. Well, so it's a chess-like game, but it's not really a game that's associated with academics, right? Because Chewie and R2 are playing. So I think you share a hobby or interest that you don't want people to know about. Ask them what. So you would, the way this is phrased, I would normally say it, but I'm happy with it being Dejarik. I do think that in your case, it's probably, even though it's not exactly academic, it's not the kind of thing that fits with your public image.
Did you want to say that we play Sabak?
Nope, I'm happy with Dejarik. I'm all about Dejarik. I'm just saying that Tassa's image of a rough and tumble bruiser sitting down and him playing Dejarik is not in keeping with that. And Dr. Zardra actually, I think in their case, doesn't really want other people getting in way of the only alone time that they get with you.
Oh, that's good.
That's cute.
I think let me pitch you an idea. Let's say that's like maybe the reason why out loud you might say, or that's like your secret reason, but maybe outwardly you say that you don't want anyone to know, but because like I beat you constantly, and like or maybe we're like evenly matched, and it's just like, well, the big smart doctor can't it's supposed to bat 1,000, and
there's a little bit of pride there.
There's a little bit of pride.
I mean, it's also a thing where like it's the thing that Dr. Zardra prizes about Tassa in the first place, is that they are impulsive and prone to do things that don't make sense, which then achieve results anyway.
Yeah.
And so there's the sensible move, and then there's the move that you make.
Yeah. I think
why did you make the sheath maneuver here, and why did it work?
Yeah, I think but maybe I see like the Dejarik playing as like the most contemplative that Tassa is, and probably the most strategic that Tassa is. Like he is the most long-term win player in Dejarik, which is like completely opposite to the way that he lives his life. I also picture Tassa as like having flashbacks of being like a young Devaronian and being like not buff and being part of like the Dejarik school team, and just getting made.
Can we say that they play like Speed Dejarik? Because
that's
here's the
cool.
thing: if we're playing Speed Dejarik, you're rolling with cool because it thinks fast. And that way, like if they're slapping the clock all the time.
I will take that. That's awesome.
That's fun. That's
That
fun.
is awesome. He doesn't want anybody to know though. Probably less because people would have a problem with it, but he himself feels insecure because he has memories of being made fun of for being a nerd in the Dejarik club in school, the Maronian school.
In the heart of many a punk.
There lies that. That's awesome.
That's good.
I'm not
Good
a nerd.
stuff.
I'm super cool.
Oh, that's pretty great. I like it a lot. Okay, cool. Thank you guys so much for working out those links. I'm gonna hide some of the unused links to save a little bit of up and down space for everything, because that's fun, right? To have a little bit of. Oh, just turns out that a lot of these are just oddly spaced. Here we go. Awesome. So we begin with the sound of some punk music, and the camera kind of opens and we see green and we see some like trees. But so Vesia, these trees that were brought into Tranquility Park, and of course there was the like silver spade and the big political thing of the big to-do of these imported trees that would be even more beautiful. What is it about these particular trees that either are from some place that's noteworthy, or the trees themselves have a particular thing that makes them look more alien? What is it about these trees, Vesia?
About these trees, it is that they absorb light and emit it in the darkness.
Oh, nice. Twilight trees. I love it.
Yeah, and because all the light here is artificial anyways, like the park has like shifted day-night cycles, you know, so there's like pitch black in one section of the park and bright in another section of the park, and it like rotates throughout an artificial day, so that anybody who's at any time can come to the park for a night walk or a day walk at any point, right? If that's too complicated, and I've just
No, I
complicated
love
this
it.
park entirely.
I'm here for it. The Tranquility Park has a day-night shifted schedule that is always open, and it's always day somewhere in Tranquility Park. That's really cool. That's a neat little high-tech sale.
It's mainly because I wanted to have like the effect of you know, night sweeping across the park as like the trees light up going across in like different areas.
Oh man, I feel bad about to trash it. No wait. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Does it look like Pandora? Is that how I should picture it?
I
Like
guess it's
the
been
Avatar
I
planet?
haven't seen Avatar since it first came out, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember much beyond lots of confusing shots and things. And it was like Alien at the end. But sorry, I digress.
Oh man, I actually thought I had a thing, but I guess I don't. Anyway, I have a Zoom background that I had to reset. I had a Zoom background from Avatar of the weird foliage, but I do not know where it is because I have too many Zoom backgrounds. Too many. All right. Anyway, stick with this. Cool. And we begin, and the song that we hear is Woe to the Shepherds by the Dorn Krentz, the punk band. Now, Tassa, are the Dorn Krentz like, are they the kind of guys that will set up a stage, or do they just pull in a hover truck and just hop up onto the bed of it and start playing?
I think it's both. I think they have a truck that like opens up like both ways, and then a full stage.
Oh man,
yeah.
That's awesome. So they have a traveling stage.
Yeah,
oh,
but
man,
it looks real Star Wars, real janky, right? And
of
so
course, yes.
Yeah, it's all slow and like things creak, but like a pretty dope big stage comes up and you can set up audio on it and stuff.
So Newly, is this a thing that you help them to build, or is this a thing that you know how 15 different ways it could be made better?
So I think that and the people who actually have this are the punks with lunch, is that right?
The punks with lunch are throwing the punks with lunch thing at the park. They're just playing. That was Tossa suggested. Hey, we should make it like a parade, like a party or a festival kind of deal.
So I think that Newly's busy the whole time trying to keep it together, because otherwise, power goes down over here and nobody notices the squelch from the speakers over there, and I'm constantly trying to get things that work. I don't think any of it works all the time.
Bummer. Those poor punks. They just don't. It's just make it work. Make it work.
Well, I think the majority of that is because they intentionally are destroying pieces of it, as they're singing, like ramping up their volume and like kicking things over. And and
your mother hitting it. That's great. That's great. So that's going on. And if we remember from last session, one of the big things, little victories that Vasya had was you had gone and spoken with Rika Somyan, and she had agreed, yes, I'll come down and check out the punks. I'll come down here and meet some of the people, right, to get in touch with folks. And so Rika has yet to arrive. Where do we see you, Vessia, when this starts up?
You see Vessia is she's like, there's the punks with lunch, right? And there's the people who come here for the food, and there's the sort of like more alternative people who are here. Vessia is like meeting and greeting like all the other people in the park, and like drumming up kind of like, oh, there's a show, like, hey, there's gonna be free food. It's it's a nice day out in Tranquility Park. Why don't you come join? Trying to get some of the people that Rika cares about to be standing around and
you're trying to get some
basically.
some establishment people to be mixing in amongst all the punks and the like. That's pretty wise. You know what? Let's see how successful you are at that. Let's say this is a general influence someone role, and we'll be more like towards a group rather than one particular person. Let's have you go ahead and roll plus presence and see how well you've been able to convince some of the norms, the straights, to come in and listen to them.
Exactly, the normies. Because we're gonna need the normies too, I'm just looking at the thing that with my my incumbent speciality is that I'll probably always be holding on to it for like the perfect factoid to tell about people, because I feel like I could do a lot of damage with that.
Yeah, damage. Hashtag. Go
That
for
is
it.
10.
Wow. So with a 10, the move specifically says they'll attempt to do was ask them. So let's say that you've gotten, so look at the roll history, 3, 5, and 2. There's like a couple dozen folks that you, as we pick up the scene, are coming over, like friends of friends. There's a small, there's one woman who's like pushing a little hover carriage with 2 babies in it, and she comes over. There's like a jogger in the park who's like, oh, okay, yeah, listen to a little bit of music. We see that the punks with lunch are set up not like right in front of the stage, because it's loud, so they're set off kind of to the side. There's a main area for folks to mill around and listen to the music, and they're set up with a table, and they're handing out. Like, does bag lunch, does that break anybody's Star Wars immersion, or what do you think the containers are? It's like, just kind of what could there be besides stuff? Like, what would folks put food in? It's kind of
so they've got several of those ice cream maker lockers.
The cantonas.
Yeah, and then you open those up, and then there's the individual sandwiches to pass out.
Thank you for Star Wars-ifying my bag lunch. That is way better. And as they are handing out, and you guys see the kind of lead of not the punks with lunch, but the person who runs the zine Play Dead Communal, Nebula 6. She's there kind of chatting with the punks that are handing out food and maybe trying to get a few people talk to them as they get the food, little street thing. But Tassa, where are you in all of this?
Stephen, I wanted to pitch you an idea for a scene. I think like we get a shot of all the equipment and the stage that like collapses and everything, and we see you like grunt in frustration and be like, how did you do this? Why did you break this again? And there's and I think the Dornkranth are mostly Ithorian, because I thought Jason's idea was super awesome.
Just roll with it. I love it.
Yeah, cool. And like the authorities like, right? And you're like, and then you know, and we see some Ithorians in the background like picking up an amp or two or like an equipment, and then Tassa walks in the foreground and he has like 2 huge amps, right? And he's like, lighten up, Nolly. Like you and then he quotes a line from one of the Dorkrent songs that says you got to break a few amps to make a punk omelet. And I think like all of the Ithorians are like either in the band or they're groupies or they're techies or roadies. And like I think that stops all of them there, like dead in their tracks, and they're like like they start singing, and then like Noli's just like, I can't with this, whatever, and then like she goes back to fixing the things.
Perfect. Yes.
Okay, cool. The idea of Ithorian punks tickles me to no end, and I'm glad that we went ahead and went with that. Excellent suggestion. Cool. So Tassa, you suggested the scene. I got lost. Where is it that Tassa is actually in relation to things that are going on?
So I think Tassa is playing Rhodey, and he's just helping set up and connect.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're helping Newly with the setup and carrying things back and forth. When you see a few guys you don't recognize from this dome, they're from O'Kelly. They're coming in. They're wearing coveralls that are covered with a little bit of moon dust and the like. And you just get that immediate read of like, these guys are here to start bad trouble. And they're traveling like, they're kind of cut through, and you see them nudge aside one of the norms that came here because of Vesia's invitation, and then they start like, it looks like they're maybe trying to start a mosh or something, but it doesn't. People are not really responding well to that.
Yeah,
what do you do?
That's for like later too. It's like right now people are still eating, probably.
Right.
Still setting
People
up
are
for,
eating.
like...
This is not the time to get all harsh and violent, and these guys seem to
Right.
be just jumping straight to on the get-go.
Yeah,
do?
do they seem like they're trying to be conspicuous?
Yes.
Okay.
They certainly are drawing attention. They're loud, they're brash. They're not tatted up.
Mhm.
They don't fit. It just looks like they're coming in to start a little bit of trouble.
Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna put like the amps down and probably shake the whole stage. And then Tassa doesn't know how to be low key, so I think he's gonna like lean in and squint and have that look from Fry in that GIF, right? And then he's gonna like cross his hands and be like, "Oi, Nolly, what do you make of these guys?" And mechanically, I'm hoping that she can trigger, maybe scan the room, if that's okay with you, Stephen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what I'll do is I'll try and figure out exactly what these people are doing and what the best way to kind of corral them and keep them away from the normals, so that we don't see contention from the different domes kind of start up.
Cool. Well, go ahead and read the room, which is rolling plus smart. You're a pretty smart cookie.
Awesome. So that's a 5 plus 2 makes it 7.
Squeak. Sweet. With a 7 on that, you get to ask one of the following questions there. Start on row 34 of the basic moves.
So what's my best? I think the best one is what's my best opening for corralling these people. Specifically, what I'm looking at is I'm going to jury rig some of this equipment into making a mosh pit that with like sort of an electric fence or something like that to keep everyone else out. So basically, these people can be as violent as they want inside, and therefore it doesn't interfere with the normals that are outside.
Cool. So your best route to corral these guys is, the answer is unfortunate. You watch them for a bit, Newly. You recognize a few of these guys. They're hired hands to cause trouble. And they have kind of come in, even though they're being conspicuous, look like they're starting a mosh pit. They're here to cause trouble. And so the best way to corral them is unfortunately to like make them think that they're shutting things down. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So I think that part of this is going to be a bait and lure kind of thing. I'm going to put up equipment as the Dorn Kenneth band destroys things. I'm going to take that and set it out with wires hooked up, so it looks like it's a part of the actual show, so that they can destroy it in this mosh pit. That makes sense?
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
I think I'm gonna turn to Tossa and I'm gonna say, okay, you have a new job. I don't need any more of that stuff carried in. Your job is to kick these guys' ass as much as you want to inside this area. Don't let them out, and let them beat up this stuff enough because it's broken anyway.
That's awesome. And out of character, we're setting this up for later when the show really gets going, right? Or are we doing this now?
Let's do this now because basically, we want, I think that there's probably some of the roadies are up there warming up the equipment, and there's enough damage stuff. We want them to, because if they get a hold of this stuff and start destroying it now, we want to keep them engaged, so they feel like they've done a good job.
It feels like you're rushing forward with the show to try and get them into a controlled place rather than let them trigger it.
Yeah, and I actually get on the comms to Vasya and I say, okay, show starts now. We've got to start it now.
Cool. Ooh. I take that I take that cue from Nully, and I think we get a shot when I hear Nully says show starts now. You just get a shot of Tossa's face going like, show starts now, and like he is going to take off his fancy denim jacket, which he wore because it's a special event, so he wore. So he's going to take it off, and the Veronians have like longer canines than usual, so he's going to take a beer can and like bite it, and there's going to be like spray, Star Wars beer coming out, right? And that's going to draw the people closer. And he's gonna start screaming to whoever's there. Like usually Tossa is the one that like gets people going with with shows anyway, right? And like starts the mosh pits and stuff. So I think he's gonna start going like, hi ho, let's go, hi ho, let's go, and try to like get the people riled up. And then hopefully the Dorn Krenth are like ready to go. I mean, we're like jumping the gun early, but like if they're ready to go, I think Tossa is going to start like wherever these groups of like rabble rousers are, not the kind of rabble rousers that we like. Like I think he's going to start like making a perimeter and start like hurting them towards the equipment that
it seems like you're trying to influence these guys to start the show now, Tossa.
Yeah, and influence the crowd to get them going. Yeah, cool.
Let's go ahead and have you roll plus presence. And I'm going to jump over to Dr. Zardra while you're making that roll, because I want to check in with them and see where are you right now as looks like the band is about to kick in. Where is it that you are in this?
I think Dr. Zardra is over with the Punks of Lunch, creating it as the sole area of absolute order. So they're not passing out lunches. They're doing operations. They're moving people around and enforcing like how people are coming up and approaching things. And it's Dr. Zardra talks like a chiss. So as they're coming up there, excuse me, in order for us to make sure that everybody receives the lunch and an appropriate amount of nutrients, they're going to have to move in an orderly fashion. While you're free to be exuberant outside of the bounds of this area, if you were to violate things, it would put an end to the festivities. And to put an end to the festivities would be extremely difficult for you.
Nice. And
so yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to keep the peace. You're trying to keep things orderly. There are some of the homeless folks who've come up, receive some food. They're very thankful, right? This is pretty good food, and it's also healthy. You've made sure that this is healthful food. This kind of stuff that can keep them not just fill their bellies, but keep them a little healthier. And they're looking back at this bit of more violent part of punk that's started up here. There are folks who are a little nervous, but yeah, Dr. Sartre, your calm, smooth tones are helping to keep the peace for now. Vesia, at about the time that Tassa is trying to corral these not good rabble rousers, that's when the sleek black very expensive speeder that Sumyon arrives in. She's like slides up to on the Durcrete street that runs parallel to this part of the park, and the guy runs around and like opens the door for her, and she comes out, and you've got some of the norms in, and you've built things up to where they seem like, you know, she's going to have the ability to see people that she is interested in and other folks.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of these, like the normies, you know, there's like the people with day jobs and things who haven't embraced the full punk style, but then still listen to all that punk music, looks pointedly at all of the faces in front of us.
Eureka, she looks around. Vesia, so good to see you. Interesting music. I didn't know Ithorians did this style.
I thought you were like this kind of thing. Yeah, I remember back at school.
Gods, that was eons ago.
Oh, we used to hit it hard. Be one step ahead of the Imperial patrols after curfew.
Oh, I think you remember me wrong. I don't think I was ever involved in such things, she says, and she kind of smiles playfully.
Oh yes, I forget. The new week has never been involved in anything below board, right?
Oh, that would just be too scandalous. Come on now, Vesia.
How fun.
So who am I to meet here? And then the music starts a little bit, and you hear the double-throated music, and she winces a bit. And
well, I thought you'd like to meet Dr. Zardra, the man who makes all this possible. Respected chiss scientist, hydroponicist, feeding people, you know, making, you could say, entrepreneurial attitude, a startup, a self-startup for a different type of business, and one that seems to be going down well with many of your constituents.
Rika comes over. Vesia's introducing you, Dr. Zardra. And
Vasia is the whole time like smiling and thing, and then just like looking over her shoulder, staring daggers at these things, and looking at Tosser and just like, you've got this.
Rika she's dressed very well, sleek, fashionable stuff that's like posh in the core world's not necessarily here, a bit too expensive for the hard scrabble life on the moon. She's aspirationally beautiful in a way. Like there are people who are like, oh, she's so stylish, you know, who doesn't want to have where did she get that? And she comes over. It's Dr. Zardra, you look familiar. Where would I know you from? She offers a hand.
Dr. Zardra will formally take the hand and shake it and go, well, now that depends on your awareness of botanists. If you're familiar with my work, you're probably most familiar with my work with the Hothian mushrooms that grow in the ice caves. Most people don't really expect much from them, but a lot can happen with things you don't expect much from. It's my pleasure to meet you.
She shakes your hand and she says, I think I've seen you somewhere else, not on Woth. Come on, I'm terrible with Chiss sometimes. Where
Well,
would
so
I have
many
seen
people
you?
I'm just a simple botanist trying to make my way in the world.
So,
But I'm glad-
Simple is far too humble, Dr. Zardra. Look, Rika, you should try this. And I tear open a bag of, it's just like, it's not quite the Alderaanian ale, but, it's good.
Alderaanian ale!
that's right. You can twitch a little bit. So she'll tense. She's like, well, am I taking? Isn't this meant for the homeless? Are we sure?
Well, I believe that it is custom to break bread. I mean, one thing about food is an equalizer. We all need to eat.
See, this is what I'm saying, Rika. It's not just for the homeless. It's for everyone.
Be calmed by our pair of voices.
Nice.
I was intentionally, I was specifically trying to deflect any of her because she seems to have a bit of a thing against you, and you're just trying to get away from it, right? So,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that move would be. Maybe protect someone who's in danger. I don't know if that works. It seems more physical in this sense rather than social. Protect someone, doesn't it? Actually,
It does seem so. You know what? Let's break away to see how Tossa's thing's going, and then we'll roll back to the Zardra, Vesia, Rika thing that's happening. And Newly, you're still setting up Tossa, so you could easily help. Help out is assisting a crew member on any task. Crew member being other PC.
Turns out I won't need it because I rolled an 11.
Oh my! Well, you're helping, but you're not helping.
Right.
That's the gesture for rolling dice. In case somebody thinks that I'm trying to do a tosser joke.
Okay, if I could narrate how this happens, right?
Sure. What's it look like?
Yeah, I think Tassa will turn to Nuli and like give the sign to like bring the broken amps over, right? And so I rolled an 11, so like people were definitely like echoing the chant of like, hi, oh, let's go, right? And like everyone is coming, and the band opens up with, you got to break a few amps to make a punk omelet, and and so like the chant turns from like hi ho let's go to toss up, and like Toss is gonna like hold the 2 amps really high. It's like, you want it, and he's gonna like toss one and toss another, and like and the crowd just like they don't know that they're broken anyway, right? And like they're sitting there, and he's gonna go, hold it, and he's gonna like point at like one super beefy like punk dude, and then he's gonna point at another one. He's the guy that he got into a fight with at the bar earlier, and just like Noli, when he got into a fight, like they're now friends, right? And he's got a big shiner, and he's like, yeah. And then he's gonna point at the 2 rabble rousers that we don't want. He's gonna be like, come on, and they're gonna be like, us, okay, yeah. And then they come, and like the 4 of them are going to like prep for Tossa to stage dive, and Tossa's gonna do just that, right? And that stage dive is gonna start the mosh pit.
Okay.
And he's gonna like just roll into it, and it's just gonna start. And we have, just like Newly wanted, we have corralled them, right? And then if they were to get out of control and try to get out of the mosh pit, I think Toss is gonna like keep him in there. He's gonna mosh him back in there. And they are destroying, just like Newly wanted. They are like, as they're moshing, they're also kicking the amps that don't work.
Cool. Okay. Cool. I get it. Yeah, that's good. And by the way, the one thing, Krombon Eileen is the Zabrak that you have befriended by punching. One of the things that you picked up, maybe it was later that night, Tulsa, is the reason that Krombon really needed to get all that out. The reason he got so drunk is that, like Newly, he lives in the same kind of complex, and Redar Kalayan has doubled his rent, and he's got a week before he's got to get out, and he doesn't have any family, he doesn't have anyone on the moon. So he knows he's going to end up on the street. So
Okay.
yeah,
I think if we're having a bit of a narrative flashback, I think Tassa would have probably given him his contact information, and because he believes so much in Vessia, like he wants to introduce him to Vessia and see like what we can do for him, maybe.
Cool. Okay, I like that. So yeah, Krombon is trying to corral some of these punks to you. You stage dive in, and we'll just call them goons so that we know difference between punks and goons, right? So these goons from the labor dome, they're getting pretty excited, right? There's been some trashing of the amps, and it looks like you're causing a whole lot of trouble, Tossa, so they'll buy into this. And the music has started. Newly, you're keeping an eye on. You've gotten them effectively corralled, so some of the norms and the straights are not getting jostled by this impromptu mosh pit. Newly, is there anything else that you're doing, or just trying to keep a hawk eye on the goons and that area?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep everybody entertained, basically. I kind of see that as my position. It's the goons are there to destroy stuff, and I want to make sure it looks good for them and they get what they want. And I want to make sure that the normals are all safe. So I'm kind of building up like a fencing or something like that to make sure. And maybe I'm sort of like the gatekeeper for, some of the norms are like, they're having a great time, let's go down there. I'm like, no, you don't get it. This big guy, he can come in. Yeah.
Nice. So we pop back to the food table with Zardra and Vessia. It's obvious that Rika recognizes you, Zardra, and just hasn't quite placed it yet. But you play it off, you're a little neutral about things, and so she shifts the conversation over to you, Vessia, and says, I'm not sure if I should be eating this. Natsuki, that's my brother.
Oh, I remember Natsuki, yeah.
Yeah, you remember Natsuki? Well, he's a little worried about this whole thing because, this isn't licensed. Any of this work and any food, even if it's free, needs to go through him. He is the health inspector for the dome. He's not super happy about this whole thing.
He is, yes, of course he is. He's not happy about it? Oh.
No, because Natsuki's not really, he thinks it's a good deal, but you got to go through the right channels. And these guys, they're not like you. They don't pay attention to the rules, Vessia. I'm a little worried that he might think that the health codes are more important than the good that you guys are trying to do.
Well, I mean, I understand where he's coming from. Of course, people can't. There's no point in feeding someone if all you're doing is making them sick, right? That's why Dr. Zandra's here. He's got it all covered.
As a clarification, it's not the health codes, it's the enforcement of the health codes, which is a slightly different situation. What you're talking about is licensing, which is very, very difficult. Fortunately, for Punks with Lunch, I have before me two wonderfully affluent and connected people who can arrange for the proper forms to be filled out and for funding to flow into the coffers of Punks with Lunch so that we continue to do our good work.
Nice. So yeah, you effectively propositioned Rika to help make this happen.
Vessia looks at you like, you said it out loud. You said it directly.
You said the quiet part loud.
Yeah.
Yes. But I justified it with reason, which is the only way that I can convince anybody of anything.
So yeah, Rika says,
I will happily roll on my move, Rich.
yeah, let's see you do it. Let's see you do it.
All right.
I suppose my question is though, is that what are you proposing that she gains out of that?
She doesn't have to gain anything. Basic move, influence someone. It says roll when you're lying, threatening, seducing, or otherwise convincing someone to give you something or help for nothing. So she does
That's fair
not, in
point.
fact, gain anything. So there we go.
We'll see how it goes.
All right. My first time using this roller. Let's give that a shot.
If you want me
right.
to kind of talk you through it, I'm happy to.
Do I just click that 2d6 thing up at the top?
You can click the 2d6 thing. You can, and then I'll just
Or I can
roll.
add individual dice. I
Right.
see.
You can actually, under the word quick roll, you can type like 2d6 plus whatever number. And then if you type as something or other, it'll reflect it as the reason for it. Like I just clicked the 2d6 bit and it gave me a 6, which is crappy, but
See how that goes. All right. So I got a 10.
nice. And your presence is...
It is not presence. It is for me. I'm using smarts because I'm using actually. I have to sound smart to ever stand a chance to make this roll.
You do indeed. Okay, cool. So rolling with smart means that would have been a mixed result, but instead is a full hit. And on that, they'll attempt to do what's asked of them. So she says, and there's a little bit of tension, right? You've used this social situation to kind of wheedle her into a bit of a corner. You've said the quiet part loud. Vesia, this was like step 7 that Zardra's jumped to, and they've kind of circumvented some of your sly wheelings and dealings. But Rika says, I see the logic in what you're talking about. I do. I'll talk to Natsuki, but I'm just not sure that doing this out in the open is the way to really solve this problem. Right?
It is the best way to get attention for people who support doing what's right. If we didn't do it out in the open, what kind of benefit would it be?
But we're drawing all of the homeless people into the nice... Vessi, you know what I'm saying.
And you see this like pained smile, like she's stomaching down on like something really, spitting out. Maybe the paper cup that she's holding just crunches in a hand behind her back, and she says, "Well, of course, Rika, but look, if they're all here and people can see that they're all fed, then they know that no matter how bad things get on B7 on Woth, people like you and me are looking out for them, and it's a safe place for everybody."
Her face tightens a little bit. She knows what looks good here in this moment, and so she's going to play along. But Vesia, you can tell that this is not going at all the way that Rika had hoped. You're winning this battle. And she says, well, let's talk to a few more people. I do have an appointment coming up very soon. So I want to make sure that we meet as many people as you'd like, Vesia. I did come here for you, old time's sake and all. It was nice to meet you, Dr. Zardra. We'll have to catch up again sometime.
It was a pleasure for me as well.
I'd like to say that I think we've made the case well enough that Rika now is entangled enough that there will be some backlash on her if this does get, you know what I mean? Like we've made the argument, she can see it, right? It's popular. We haven't obviously like solved the problem, but in that now it's no longer a case if she can just go like, oh, it was just all bureaucracy and out of my hands kind of thing now. Like, which was my intent in bringing her down here, was to get her.
She's a little enmeshed, but so here's the thing though, Vesia, when she kind of corrals you or gets you to walk away from Zardra, she slows down because she wants to talk to you for a moment. She says, so I noticed that Nebula 6 is there with the punks with lunch. she runs that little oh, I don't know, newsletter.
Oh, Rika, remember who you're talking to. I remember you used to collect those zines.
God, you just okay. Play Dead Communal is just killing me. They always have articles about me, and it's dragging my name through the mud.
Yeah?
And I need it to stop. Can you help me on that? I mean, here I am. I came down here for you. I'm listening to these people taking free lunch when they haven't earned anything. And if I'm going to
Why do you
talk
think I
to my
invited you down
brother
here,
about,
Why do you think I invited you down here, Rika? I didn't invite you down here for me or for them. I invited you down here for you.
she narrows her eyes and looks at you like she's not sure she buys that quite yet, but she's listening.
Yeah, well, I've lied in to her face now, haven't I?
You certainly have.
Yeah.
You set that up quite well.
Yeah. It sometimes troubles me when I play lying characters because I'm like, oh yeah, just how easily it flows out. Anyway, and I say, look, I get what you mean, right? But Nebula 6, somebody else, right? We both know that people are going to talk about however they perceive you. And it's easy to try and sweep these people up, but they whisper and they talk and it goes out and someone somewhere hears, right? This is your chance to make it a different story. Certainly not like, is it possible to roll my incumbent now?
Ooh, you're incumbent. Let's see that one.
I mean, I don't know if I maybe need like time in between to set it up.
When you say incumbent, I'm looking. What do you?
Oh, speciality. My speciality. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I'm a
Durr.
mainstay in lunar politics. Once per session, I can take a single factoid, be it true or false, and spread it to the people. Roll plus
Oh, it
presence.
sounds like that's exactly what you're setting up. I really want to see how this goes. So you're offering to her, if you play ball with getting the license, use your brother to all this, then
Oh, no.
no, that's not what you're okay.
No, what I am offering
Mhm.
is you can get ahead of any story. And you know, I think that'll be so important if what they're saying about Natsuki is true. And I am going to have spread the factoid that Natsuki is very much we know that he's he doesn't like to see evidence of it, right? And that we can infer that he does abuse his powers for, the petty ends and everything, right? But what the factoid I'm going to spread is that he has been supplying the Imperials, like he has signed off on the contaminated food stuff that laid out a squad of Imperial stormtroopers with food poisoning, and he swept it under the carpet.
So you're basically burning her brother right now?
I am burning her brother, but I am not making it look like
It's coming from you. You're not using his leverage. You've spread this rumor around, and now you're basically pointing Rika that her brother is bad, is bad, used goods or whatever. Like, is that what?
Yeah, I would like to invoke a nepotism here as well to get an extra +1 on this. Because this is totally about like, it could be dangerous, like we need to, if he's the good works and the things, right, there'll be support. There won't be this people won't believe that he's this horrible, corrupt person if he's, you know what I'm saying? Does that work?
Okay, so you're dropping this recently revealed bad thing about her brother as leverage to say, you need this good thing. Don't worry about the bad press about you. You need this good thing to even out the ledger because of nepotism and her ethos. as stated, is my family name's the most important asset I have. So that's a really clever play. Let's see how the roll goes.
Cool. Stop me if I ever make these too convoluted.
Not yet.
Politicizing, yeah, political machinations. So 2d6.
Just notice how long it takes me to catch up to you.
2d6 plus 4, then.
Oh my gosh, that's the most you could possibly roll with. That's pretty good.
Good job, I got it, 'cause it's an 8.
Wow.
So, yeah, I rolled badly on that one. They believe any truth I've spread, but doubt any lies. So I guess what that means is that the word is out around that he's, like people believe that he is corruptible, because that is true, and that but not that he's now necessarily responsible for that Imperial rationing poison,
Okay.
right? They've got doubts about that, but I guess there's enough uncertainty here that it's still a play. You know what I mean? Like it's still a potential rather than a kind of, oh my God, they're coming for my brother. The Stormies are going to take, what happens if you poison a stormtrooper? It's a firing squad.
Yes, it is. So
whereas this is enough to be like, maybe the Imperials are going to take a bit of a dubious eye towards him, Like,
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So, and we'll quickly jump out of the scene because I want to jump over to some other things. But I think what you see is she says, I hadn't heard that about my brother. Do you mind if I step away and just make a quick call?
Of course, Rika, of course. Maybe back in your limo with this, because the band is quite loud. You can see it's what people like, but
no accounting for taste.
Yeah,
so she'll head towards the speeder to make her quick call.
And a massive thumbs up to Tosser as she goes back towards the speeder.
Nice. So Newly, you peep this. It looks like Vesia has kind of warded off one of the threats to things going on here. Rika Somyan, the lunar politician responsible for distributing business licenses, is now going to make a hurried call in her sleek speeder. What are you doing, Newly? Is that a call you want to eavesdrop on, or do you want to do anything else that's going on here?
So I think I know a little bit about what's going on. I think I'm pretty busy at this point,
Mhm.
just trying to corral all these people. But I take note of this, so I'm going to send R8, the droid, over to record the session, the message, to see if we can get it later.
Oh, cool. Let's have you. I think to pull that off, I'd like to see you think fast. Oh, well, no, I think use tech, right?
It could be either. I mean, think fast would be.
Could.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of you using tech,
Okay.
because you're specifically using your little buddy droid. So let's go with that.
And how do tags work?
So if the tag would apply a situation, then it can give you a +1. If a tag would work against you, it can also give you a -1. So it's situational. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And R8's tags are inconspicuous and cranky.
Inconspicuous with absolutely. So you can only get a max of like a +1 or a -1, so you don't stack tags. But inconspicuous is 100% applicable here. Go ahead and take a +1.
Okay. So that makes me a 12.
That's good, and things go. R8 whistles a little bit and then just kind of zips along the Duracrete street and just sticks a little thing in between the door and just records that whole conversation, and will just diddy bop his way all the way back to you, and it's got it on its data tapes, proudly let you know. So Tassa, you and your buddy Krombon, the two of you have kind of cleared house. Like you've shoved down, I don't think a fight has broken out unless that's a thing that Tassa would escalate to, but you definitely have proved your physical superiority to any one of these goons. Then you see one of them look to the other after he caught one in the chin, and he he like snaps out a little stun baton, and the other guys, they're about to escalate this. They've been mollified for a while. Rika's gone, and you don't know if that's related at all, but it looks like they're like, okay, this is enough of this. Let's just like really trash this place. What do you do?
Okay. I think that I'm going to get the attention of the Dorn Krenth, and I'm gonna say, hey, it's time for Zillo Beast Authority Feast. Another one of their famous songs. And Zillo Beast Authority Feast is the tale of like two punks going toe to toe with the authority and coming up on top.
Nice.
So what I would want to set up if this was a movie, it would be me and Kromban like looking at each other and having like a buddy cop moment and going toe to toe with these two guys. And it's a fight / mosh pit.
All right.
Yeah, as the music is playing and like the lyrics are describing what we're doing. I think that'd be really dope.
I'm into it. That sounds cool. Let's have you throw down.
Awesome. And that is plus bones, yeah?
That is roll plus down bones.
All right, cool. Let's throw the bones. Okay, 9.
9. Okay, on
Do
a
I
7
have-
to 9. Yeah,
Sorry,
go
real
ahead.
quick. Like, how do tags work here? Like, do you assign them to me? Do I earn them? How does that work?
So tags can come. So there are ways to set up a tag. There's some NPCs. If you check within the brackets, when I stick them in, they already have tags.
Gotcha.
Often. So if you, it's a little fate-y if that description makes sense.
Okay.
The goon team is currently in the thing. Their only tag that they start off with is violent. So that one's going to be a hard one to use against them. Otherwise, you can give tags through some moves.
Could I get some sort of bonus here since like these are like I'm surrounded by my people and they might help by throwing them back in there? And
I'd happily give you roll a help out for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think somebody
Yeah.
else helping out would be the best way to get there.
Okay, cool. Let's do that. Yeah. Who'd like to set that up?
I mean, Nuli is busy doing something else, I think, at this point, right? And I've just waved off,
Yeah,
and I
that's right.
turn back and I see it, and then I see that you're squaring off against all 3 of them, right? And you're like ready to do it. And that's when Vasya comes leaping over, like crowd
my
surfing
gosh.
over the thing, and just as soon as he like whips out that baton, Vasya just comes like charging in.
So awesome. That is so awesome. The way that I see that on screen is like I'm squaring up and I'm taking damage, and like the audience would see a moment where like one of these goons actually held Tassa's hand and is like shocking him with the baton, and right when it looks like he's about to lose this fight, that's when Vasya like comes in crowd surfing over and knocks this goon
Well,
over.
let's see. Let's see if I do or not, because I
Is
have
that
to roll.
cool?
I have to roll with my
Alright.
associated stat, which is -1, I think, because I definitely set this up as a bones rather than anything else.
Yes. It's great. I love
I
it.
can hear
I
all
do love it too. It's so great.
all my old worldwide wrestling in my head. My God, my
Yeah.
God, it's Vessia Bash.
My God. Yeah. That is a 7 to 8. Is a give my ally a +1 to their roll by. I open myself to any danger of failure, pushing you up to.
Oh yeah, some people are going to take some harm. You're going to be swapping some harm here. So your previous roll was a 9. So with the help, that pushes you to a 10. On throwdown with a 10 plus, you deal and take established harm, but you can also choose one of the following. Do you see that list?
All right, let's see.
column D
Yep.
on the basic moves. You're going to be taking a harm, and guess what? Bessie, you get to take a harm too, as you guys are getting batted by this.
How much harm was that? Just the
One harm AP.
Okay, well, yeah, because Vessia's got armor.
It's very stylish.
It is super stylish.
And just as effective as stormtrooper armor.
I think that I grab that guy's hand and he just cracks me back, right? But then he just looks back and Tosser is free. Like,
that's a bad move. Yeah, that's a bad move on his part.
Okay, so I tell you what I pick, yeah?
Uh-huh.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think Vasya is gonna come over. She's also gonna get hit, right? And I'm gonna scream something at her, like something that is both like admonishing her, but also like saying how super awesome she is. Like, you know, it's like, Vasya, that was awesome, but you're gonna end up as a Wampa rug if I don't get you out of here. So I am going to use buddy system and say that I am both going to try to fight my way through this and also protect Vasya.
Okay, you got a +1 ongoing to protect someone, think fast, or help out rolls to help that person until the danger is over. Sounds
yeah,
good.
I just want to set that up as like she's the one that I'm going to be doing that to. And then well, why would you be named Tassa if you're not going to toss? So I think the thing that I'm going to pick is I'm going to toss one of these goons.
Nice. Hey, by the way, and somebody mentioned that what you only have one move actually selected. Which other two moves for the enforcer did you want?
Oh,
because you get a total of 3 to start. Yeah, you pick 3 to start.
Do you have +1 ongoing when you're outnumbered or outgunned in a fight with one of them, and you have +1 to throwing down with the other one? I was looking at it and I was like, oh, you could have just had a +1.
I could have, yeah.
Naturally, anyways,
it's
right?
okay. It's okay.
I thought I only got one. Yeah, let's do practice makes perfect.
Okay.
And what was the other one, William? That you mentioned?
I mean, those are just this.
Well, bash baller is when you're outnumbered or outgunned in a fight. It just makes you tougher.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna pick that.
Tosser is a wrecking machine.
Oh wow, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. So you just got a +1 ongoing, a buddy system. So you've effectively just given yourself a +3 to that roll, and you got help. So that just went to a 10++++. Awesome. That's pretty awesome. So which of those, I'm sorry to have interrupted, but you wanted to throw them. So you throw them, choose where they land. So this guy, what does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I am going to, I think once Vasya gets hurt, I'm gonna go up a level and be like, don't hurt my little buddy sort of mode, right? And I think Tassa is going to like throw himself and like fly through the air because, you know, low moon gravity, and I think he's gonna scoop one. Since I rolled so high, can I scoop them both and throw them both? Would you allow me that, Rich?
No, it's these guys got 2 harm coming to them, so you can basically get one guy out of the fight, but I think the other's going to stick around and be a little bit more annoying.
Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna toss one, and I think the other one is going to be busy with Kron Bon, and I'm gonna hold up the one that like just hurt me, and the crowd is gonna do the thing again where he's like, toss him, toss him, toss him, and then I'm just gonna yeet him. And can I ask out of character what would be like a good place to yeet him?
You could throw him into one of the twilight trees. You could toss him into the street, which would definitely be dangerous. You could throw him to where his head goes into one of the amps and it's stuck for a while.
Is there anywhere where like the people that we're in conflict with, like it would inconvenience them? Vessia, I know you were just in that scene over there. Is there anything over there that I could toss him into? That
you could toss him onto the car.
That's Rika's car. Oh, that's harsh.
I would have said that's maybe the consequence of a miss rather than a thing that you want. I will just suggest the dumpster that we have because we leave no trace, right? So we bring a big waste repulsor lift thing that he gets thrown into and the lid slams down.
That's perfect. I think the crowd is gonna go, thrash that trash, thrash that trash, and that's exactly what Toss is gonna do. He's just gonna hold him up and toss him, and he's gonna go like perfectly into like a big dumpster, and it's gonna close on him.
Oh, that's awesome. So, wham, it slams closed, and that guy who kind of thwacked you nice and hard, Vesia, he sees Tassa, he gets shoved down by Krombon. He's going to kind of crawl through the legs of one of the Ithorian fans, and he's going to beat feet. He's decided that discretion or running away is the better part of valor, and he's going to try to get the hell out of Dodge. He runs right past you, Dr. Zardra. He's kind of glancing over his shoulder. What do you do, Dr. Zardra?
So we have cameras around at this event, right?
Do we?
I don't know. If we don't,
I don't think we do. I don't think we do.
That's fine. So what I'm going to do is wade through the violence untouched, like people mosh around and then
of course no one would attack you.
And then I'm going to mess with the sound equipment and head out a real loud squelch that puts a stop to things. I'm going for extremely loud feedback that gets, yeah. I'm basically shoving the microphone into the speaker and squelching it.
Okay, and the plan is to what?
Well, my intent is to put a stop to as much action as I can and to draw attention towards the stage. I was going to just try and sound attack and shock it. If you don't think that'll work, I'll do something else.
I'm not saying it doesn't work. I was just trying to make sure I understood the intent. So the intent is to like use
I
a
am
sound attack against these?
Yeah, I am attempting to end violence if I can.
This is fun. So maybe you're trying to, let's see, let me double check the results from the moves. It sounds like you're trying to protect some folks.
I'm happy to roll with that. I suck at it, but I'll do it.
Yeah.
I was going for use tech, but I'm happy to roll protect someone.
Use tech does seem more appropriate. Like I don't see anyone directly being attacked that you're protecting. You're just trying to use tech to shut things down. So let's see how that goes. And also,
to be honest, if Tassa was in danger, I would throw myself in the way. But Tassa's
too good at stuff.
Tassa's not visibly in danger. So
sweet. Let's have you use tech.
Okay.
Roll plus smart.
Boop, boop, boop. So
looks like you got a 7, but you didn't put in your smarts, right?
It would be a 9 anyway.
Yep. All right. So on a 7 to 9 with use tech, it works, but pick one complication. The tech is damaged or destroyed afterwards. You cause harm to yourself. The tech does something you don't expect, and I take a hard move.
I will harm myself because I am right next to the speaker.
Ooh, so you get a little shock. Sweet.
Like I think my ears are actually ringing, but yeah, I'll take harm.
Oh, that's great. So it's like, and then the double bass Ithorian kind of stops and turns this big hammerhead over because you obviously kind of shut things down, as it were. But yeah, you got a little, like, if this were properly shielded, Dr. Zardra, you would not have taken harm from.
Why is everything non-standard?
But yeah, you've shut it down. Like, you're successful. You got the tech to stop the mosh pit. Tassa is victorious. There's one goon who gets away, and I think if you guys are okay with it, maybe that ends the bit of violence there and the threat to the punks with lunch. We take a break. So sound good? Like in scene type deal. Awesome. So I'll I propose that we pick up at Possum's Joint, the dive bar, maybe after successful. The members of the little punk collective who have organized all of the thing there, of course, they've got you pulled in, Dr. Zardra, and the punks with lunch are like, they're not gonna, I don't think they clap Dr. Zardra's back, but it's definitely chummy, and they're punks, so they're in your physical proximity. They're in your face. They're trying to push ales on you, some stuff from the ale dome. You know, they don't have the kind of money to import stuff, so they get the swill from the bottom of the vats at the ale dome here at Possum's Joint. And one of the things I assume Dr. Zardra would at least drink some, one of the things you would notice, being scientifically minded as you are, is that the ale is definitely watered down. More so than you've ever noticed here at Possum's Joint.
That is unfortunate, because the alcohol is by definition safer than the water in this sector.
You're probably not wrong. And so Zardra, you're going to have to try to extricate yourself from the punks with lunch. Play Dead Communal is in their corner, and they're working through. Nebulistic's got a bunch of interviews with folks, and she probably took a few snaps of Rika, Samian, and Vesia there, right? Some things that Rika didn't pose for, but maybe Vesia, you knew that was a thing, right? So I'm curious, Vesia, where are you in the joint as we pick up? Oh, you're talking to me.
I was going to offer the temporary tag scuffed from the fight, just because I'd like to throw the tags in there sometimes.
Yeah, tags are fun. Take a tag of scuffed. It's fun. We'll call it temporary.
And I am in the the broken mirror, looking in the broken not mirror, right, because it's Star Wars, so it's not as simple as a mirror. It's a broken, like, reflecting screen, right, that flickers.
There we go. A flickering reflective screen.
Or like it follows you, but it's like out of sync, right? So I put my hand up to my face, and then it, like, later on it puts the wrong hand up and then reframes it as the back at the thing, like it's a thingy. And I'm just staring at myself, breathing deeply, and then swearing as I, like, try and brush off, like, the dirt and the thing, and I'm like, the it's not coming off, and I just, like, shrug, spit, and then smear it across the side of my head, like in sort of like a mascara type thing, like going back kind of, and then I just go out to the bar, take a deep breath, put a big smile on my face, and step out into the bar.
Nice.
Slapping Tosser on the back as I go through, right?
Cool. And what was Tossa up to when Vesia comes back out and slaps him on the back? Oh, you're talking on mute. It's contagious.
If it's okay that we set this up in the fiction, I think Tossa has a long table with people sitting down, like he's maybe put some tables together, and like the Dorn Krenth are there, and like people from the show are there, and he's sitting, if the table is like this long, he's sitting like in the middle, and he's like commiserating with everyone, and like going through through the show. And I think just because everything went so well, can I add the temporary tag, maybe like popular, or like maybe something that doesn't sound so cocky?
Sure.
Okay, cool. All right. And I think he is he has like the Dorn Krenth there with him, and I think he's like drinking the watered down beer, and he's like burping through the lyrics, but he's doing like his best impression of like the Ithorians, and the Ithorians are getting they're like getting a real good kick out of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're like, oh, not bad for a one throat. And they're appreciative. They're not dismissive of you. You're popular right now. What about Newly? What is she up to?
So I think Newly is tinkering with R8 the droid to get the recording out and going to talk to Vasya about this.
Nice. So let's pick up with the two of you. Maybe you're off in a booth, one of the few booths. There's like a booth right beside you where the table has been ripped up and off, so it's just seats facing each other with no table in the middle. And the two of you have one of the few booths that's available. And R8's at the end of it, right? And he does the little view screen thing, and it's the hollow, but it's the interior of the back of the little speeder. It's basically like, a small limo speeder type deal. And you guys are able to pick up. Rika is on comms. She's on audio only comms, but Vasya, you pick up, you recognize the voice on the other end as Natsuki, her brother, and she says, no, it's a bad scene. They've got Vasya's down here. There are a bunch of people here. I think we should just call it off. Let's just call it off and let this thing happen, and we can take care of it some other time, okay? And Natsuki says, sis, I've already got L-Dub ready to roll out. I thought you said that the music wasn't even starting for another few minutes. She says, well, it wasn't supposed to. And then your stupid Karkin goons showed up, and then they just started playing music like right away. All right. Okay. Nothing to worry about, sis. All right. I will call L-Dub. We will break this off, and we'll circle back around to Possum's joint and take care of it there. Just strike the head off the serpent. You don't have to do it out in public. Well, you know that Vessia goes there. I do. Gotta make a few omelets, sis. Okay. Okay. Well, it'll be a black eye for everyone if she's hurt. He says, well, if she's hurt in an unlicensed bar, that's her problem, not yours. I don't want to have anything to do with this. And then the call ends.
Anuli looks up at Vasya and says, shit, poodoo, says poodoo, and then heads up to go talk to Possum. And it's going to unless Vasya stops me.
Vasya just goes, well, good to know where everyone stands. Who did he say he was going to send at us?
L-Dub. So it's an NPC that we haven't seen on screen. It's the name for LWM298. He's a stormtrooper sergeant.
Yeah, I know L-Dub.
Yes, he has the tags streetwise and eager for bribes. His ethos is, what's in it for me?
What is in it for L-Dub? That's a good question.
With him.
Yeah. Vessia sits back and lets you go, grabs Nili and says, listen, we'll take care of this. But, give her a heads up.
And I think you see, the camera sees Newly, head over towards Possum, but you see this furtive glance towards where Nebula 6 is sitting, kind of putting things together. And she's like, okay. She goes over to Possum and she says, cool. Possum. Yeah.
So as you come up to Possum, Possum's chatting with a couple people, and she says, no, it's okay. Just take it. We'll put it on your tab or whatever. It's fine. Just go ahead. And she serves them a couple of the watered down beers and says, no, it's fine. You know, there's some leftovers here. Just take care of yourself. Hey, Newly, what's up? What's up?
Yeah, Newly grabs her like around the vest and pulls her kind of partway across the bar. To lean
Whoa,
forward.
bad
Yeah.
touch.
Yeah, to lean closely enough to her to say, "Troopers are coming."
Frel.
And then kind of drops everything back down. So she's the only one that knows, and it looks like, Newly wasn't really passing information. It was a little bit of a fight, and it pissed her off.
All right, cool. Possum's not subtle, so Possum's actually going to go over. There's a bell that she will ring, which is the "you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here" bell. In fact, there are people that after she rings it will say that together in unison, and she like rings it a couple times, and folks all look up because it's like early, it's like barely dark cycle, and I think Nebula will say, "What gives, Poss?" And listen, troopers are on their way. Everybody needs to get out. Everybody needs to go. If you don't have anywhere to go, we can go. You can go down to the basement where the printing press is and hang, but we need to go. And people are getting up and like finishing beers and starting to mill towards the doors.
And Newly heads over where Tassa is. And I have, Tassa's kind of holding court at this big table.
Yeah, you're hanging out with the Doran Cran.
Yeah. And there's like, time to go.
All right, time to go.
So Dr. Zardra is going to go, but we have to defend the printing press. If we don't defend the press, then they will continue to wreck things. Word has to get out. Word doesn't get out without the printing press. We have to protect the printing press.
Yeah, Neb says, yeah, Carking A, we got to do that. You think they would go? I mean, do you think they know it's here?
Yes, absolutely, and they will destroy it. This is a given. If they don't, and we hide in the basement, then everything is all right. If I'm correct, then they will come to the basement. Better to be prepared.
Newly asks Possum, "Do you have a back door out of here? Do you have a rabbit hole?"
Yeah, I do. And she kind of reaches under the bar, and you see this like little door kind of pop out of the bar itself, and it's got a set of stairs to head down to an area out of here.
Newly says, "Buy us some time," and goes down to the basement, right? And it's going to start pulling up chunks of this printing press. And
Try to disassemble it?
It is not clean. It is like, this is important. I can piece it together, and starts tossing it down, right? And we form kind of like a fire brigade of people who are going out the back and taking a chunk and heading off.
Oh my God. That's awesome. So first of all, let's have you use tech to break this thing down. And if you happen to fail, you still break it down.
It just won't be coming back.
Putting it back together could be a problem in and of itself.
Yep. So that is a 6 plus my tech is a 2, so it's a 7.
Okay. It gives you on a 7 and 1, 7 plus, it works, but you have to pick a complication.
Well, of course it's damage. I think that's just true in the fiction.
Sure.
So let's say it does some harm. I knock myself
Fair.
about just ripping crap out. Yeah.
Okay. So you're like breaking it down. And I think as you do that, Nebula scampers down there too. And she's like, and she's trying to help, but she's also like, why did you do that? Oh my God, you just broke those pens. And so she's angry about the situation, but verbalizing it in a way that sounds a little like frustrated at you. But so you end up cutting yourself on, maybe there's a thing that like cuts the actual paper for the zine.
Actually, I think that this is on my mechanical arm, and I'm not.
Ooh.
It's a little bit unwieldy, and I think it starts sparking. It kind of pulls loose when I get to that thing that cuts the paper and everything, and it kind of starts sparking a little bit, and it's a little bit janky as I kind of pull things off.
So who's organizing the effort to like grab pieces of the printing press and beat feet?
It's either Zartra or Besh.
I think that Vassia is definitely someone you want to be around when the stormies come, if the stormies come, right?
So you're going to be there to like, if the stormies come, you're there to talk to them. So Zardra, since you're also the one who says save the printing press, it makes sense. Let's have you act casual, Dr. Zardra, as you're grabbing armfuls of stuff. And we'll say that maybe Tassa, you're carrying some of the printing press, but Zardra, you're the one who's like looking out for the group as they're moving into an alleyway to the side.
I want to, in passing, say to Nebula to say, if the stormies come, if the imps come, make sure that you document everything. Invisibility. All right, casual +2 for Dr. Zardra.
Okay. Good luck.
Right. So I have my modifier on here, but it didn't appear last time. So let's see if I can figure out why. Well, let's find out.
All right.
Roll
Fly
to find
casual.
out.
It did.
It did this time, and now I got a 7. Hooray!
Squeak for that. Okay, on a 7+, you succeed with a complication, but can pick one thing that does not happen as the complication. Interesting. It doesn't list the thing that can happen. Huh.
Yeah. Well, Zardra absolutely wants to make sure that the press gets out, because the press, from their point of view, is the most important item that they have access to it right now.
Awesome. So that works. Zardra, you get to pick who gets pinched. Is it Tassa? Is it Krombon? Or is it yourself?
I'm going to pick myself.
Interesting. All right, cool. Sweet. So you guys head out into an alleyway, you start to break out, and then there's a group of troopers who are like, hold on one moment.
Before that happens, I wanted to maybe talk to Vessia.
Cool.
And I was going to say, oh, hey, boss, you want to be here? Talk to the imps? How about I go outside and cause a diversion? Buy you some time.
Don't worry, Tassa. The best thing is to me. You know, they need someone who can carry the main drum. You don't think Nildy's going to be able to pick that up by herself, do you? I'll be fine. Don't worry.
I think Tassa is going to look forlorn because he gets to miss out on a fight. I think he's going to look worried because he's Vessia's bodyguard. But he will acquiesce, nod, and go carry things because he's good at it.
Nice. So you guys head out. You're headed down the back part of an alley. You just need to kind of finagle it around a fenced area. And that's when Dr. Zardra, you hear,
"Hey, what's going on over there?"
And a bunch of flashlights are like beam, and they pick up your.
I'm in bright white, yeah.
Kids, right?
So I will quietly say to Tassa, as I kind of nudge with my foot the printer part over towards them, and go, "I'm afraid I'll have to miss our next appointment." And then we'll turn towards the imps and go towards them, like hands up.
All right, no sudden moves.
Naturally.
And one of them will like grab you by the shoulder, and one of the others says,
"Hey, wait. It's a chiss. Be careful. You never know."
And then they put binders on you, and they're gonna move you to like one of the the troop transports, which of course look awesome not only for action figures but also Legos. And You're going to be led in there. They evidently have grabbed a few other people. You see the possums already in there in binders. And Newly, you and Nebula are finishing up, and you're down to like the last drum. And Nebula says, "You should go. I'm gonna get this."
And I think Newly, starts rummaging through her bag, and as she's leaving, says, "You're as important as the printing press. You need to get out of here quick." And as she's walking up, from the basement, is putting little oh shit. I changed all of that. She goes, you're more important. You're just as important as the printing press. You're one of the more important parts. You get out. And Newly starts taking the pieces that are left that are easily replaceable and putting them together to make it look like what's left of a printing press. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool. That's awesome. So I love that. Yeah. The door opens, Vesia, and in walks none other. And of course, he's got a couple of troopers with him, but the orange shoulder pad designating his position as a sergeant of a squad. And he pulls his helmet off and kind of puts it over the shoulder. He looks around. Vesia Besh.
My favorite stormtrooper, LWM 298. What was it, 299? L-Dub, right?
L-Dub's fine. Yeah. Vesia Besh, what are you doing in a hooscow like this?
Oh, well, there were some ruffians in the park earlier, some out of domers. I thought that security would have picked them up. They can't possibly have had the right papers to come in, but anyways, they got through. But luckily, my friends were around to look after me. It's a shame that you weren't there. And I brush off some of the scuff on my face. And
yeah, he looks at it.
Possum's an old friend, and she helped me patch myself up. And drink to steady my nerves. Would you care for one?
Thanks, but no thanks. Listen, check it out. Sue's in the bathrooms. Shake it down. He directs the troopers to kind of move in and start checking things over.
What brings you down here, L-Dub?
Oh, some people causing some trouble up top. You know what I mean? I'm sure you're well aware that sometimes there are orders you don't ignore.
Oh, I do know what you mean, but when you say trouble at the top, L-Dub, more than you might think. And I'd like to try and use my my ability mudslinging to knock them off balance. And what I'm suggesting is that yeah, there is stuff going on up top. I'm connected to a top. You're not.
Ooh, nice. That feels like a really good invoke of or trigger for mudslinging there. So you can apply tags to opponents and knock them off balance, provoke them with insults or lies, and roll plus presence.
I've also looked him in the face and lied.
Yes, you have.
Which I didn't mean to do, but I did anyways.
That's what the move says.
Yeah, that is an 11.
Wow.
So I may give the target an appropriate tag of my choice. And what I'm going to give him is out of his depth, or a tool, perhaps, or you know what I mean? Like he's a pawn tag. That would be better.
Ooh,
pawn.
A pawn. I like that. That's good.
This is all. It's just someone trying to cover some little embarrassment, L-Dub. Some little thing that while you're looking here, they can tidy up something there. You've heard about Natsuki Sakamori, right? What they're saying?
What are they saying?
Oh, the usual, the stuff that we all know is just business. But they're saying that well, how do I put this? He's going to the waste disposal in the refreshment area. He's poodooing where he eats. Where we all eat. he's trying to hide something. Something that Colonel Ipswich and the others wouldn't be too happy about. And, you know, he's making you look bad to do so. They were his men in the park. Slipping straight through the brave stormtroopers of the street and causing trouble right in the middle of Tranquility Park.
I heard about that.
Yeah, it's polite. What is it that Colonel Ipswich likes to say? A polite society is a superior society. He doesn't seem very polite when out of known trouble can make its way in here.
All right. So you're saying that Natsuki sent me here to cover up something else. That's what you're saying, Vesia Besh.
I'm saying that Vasky sent you here so you wouldn't be somewhere else, and so that she could just draw attention away from her brother. Oh wait, Vatsky's the other one, isn't he? Oh,
It's Natsuki and
Natsuki. Sorry, I got the names which makes me mixed up. Yeah, I'm saying that. Yeah, well, of course he sent you here. What's in it for him?
That's good. Let's see if you can influence him. It feels like you're leaning on some of those tags, so you can get a +1, but they don't stack. Remember?
Yes. I will. That means I'm only rolling at a 3 for this. I think
only a +3.
Only a 3.
Oh
my
man!
My first miss.
Wait! You didn't put the 3 in though. That's a 5 plus the 3.
It didn't roll. It didn't roll with it, so it is an 8. Yes.
Yeah, it is an 8.
Yeah, it's strange. It didn't. It did. I guess like it did for Jason. It didn't. Didn't remember it this time.
I'll check in with the dev. I'm sorry. Just a quick break. How are you building the roll? Like,
well, no, I hadn't actually changed anything then from my last roll, other than to modify. Change it from a 4 to a 3, and then I hit roll again, and it just rolled it without any kind of modifier on.
Okay.
The way I fixed it was I lowered my modifier to a 1 and then raised it back to a 2. And that made the modifier come back on.
That's weird.
It feels as though it's not registering.
Like you can't let it roll from the previous roll. Yeah,
I guess, or one change in the value is making it temporarily forget the modifier field exists at all. Frankly.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
I'll the dev is part of the guard.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm kind of taking a break is so I can get that information to provide to him so we can get it fixed. I appreciate it. We can talk more later. I just wanted to have that quick conver.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So yeah, you've got an 8, which is way better than what you originally rolled.
Mm-hmm.
Although, hey, it would have been an XP, so it's not all bad. 7+ they'll need something extra to convince them. And he says, he snaps his fingers, which doing that in Stormtrooper gloves, that took him a long time to figure out.
Mm.
But he's good at it. He snaps his fingers, and the guys who, like, one of them had pushed open, he's got his blaster rifle like someone's going to jump out of the bathroom, but he's like, pushed it open. He's looking in, and he hears the snap, and they immediately like come to, and he motions for those guys to leave, which means it's just you and him. And he says, okay, so I'll go check that out. I hope that you appreciate this, Vesia Besh. He does everything but hold out his hand.
I pour him, I've taken down one of the few bottles of spirits from the behind the bar, right? And I pour him the Corellian brandy, like that I'm sipping, and I pour a glass. And I hand it over to him. And I say, so I guess I'm going into a debt with him, right? There's no such thing as a free lunch.
There is no such thing as a free lunch, but are you going to actually owe a minor, we'll call it a minor debt, but you owe a minor debt to L-Dub. Yeah. And he takes that drink and then he reaches over the bar and he takes the whole bottle of the Corellian brandy, puts the stopper in it, drains it, flips the glass over, kind of pats you on the shoulder. It's like good nature. It's not one of those like slap you hard on the back asshole things. It's just like he pats you on the shoulder like, Natsuki-san could be very happy with me. But you'll be happy, right? You'll remember this. Yeah?
I could never forget you, Aldo. It's not healthy.
I'll do you one better, Vasyabesh. Everybody knows you like this place. We avoid it on our patrols. I'll make sure that continues to happen after tonight, as long as you and I are friends.
Here's to friends.
And then he'll saunter out. So we cut to, and I'm gonna jump to Newly now. So we cut to Newly. You like trying to prop up a fake printing press. You hear there's soft conversation. There's not like nobody's wrecking anything yet, which has got to make it even more nerve wracking. And then you hear the door open and close. What do you do, Newly? Nobody's come down here yet.
Yeah. Has Nebula 6 made it out? Did she leave?
We'll say she
Yeah.
did leave. Like
Yeah.
you convinced her with your inspirational speech, even though she feels guilty, she also realizes what you're saying is true.
So I think I pick up one of the remaining parts, and this is a little bit important. I couldn't figure out where to put it into this facade, and I grab a hold of it and I step behind the in between me and the printing press, putting the printing press between me and the entrance, so that whenever someone comes in, I can either look like I'm trying to save something, or I can bash them in with it and, wait to see who it is and kind of hide a little bit.
Vessia, how do you give Newly the heads up that the coast is clear?
I think it's when Newly sees the dark shape around the corner and comes like out, and Vessia's blaster bolts. Don't do that. It's all good. It's all good.
And Newly's like, "Did you double cross us, Vessia?"
Double cross?
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you see Stormy's kicking down the dust, taking people away?
No, so we're clear.
Well, we're as clear as we can be.
And you can see Newly just visibly relaxes. And I think in the darkness down here, you see that arm spark a little bit and kind of put a little bit of light on the wall. And she says, "I didn't think we were going to make it."
There's always a way when somebody wants something, really.
And I think Newly drops the piece that she was holding, and it makes a loud clang on the floor, and then puts her right arm around Vasya and says, "I'm glad to have friends in the right places." And they kind of walk back towards the stairway.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I think Vasya, though, does now that the conversation with thing is over, she does look a lot more shaken by the whole experience than she did do before, especially after nearly getting brained.
Nice. So we cut to Dr. Zardra. You are in an Imperial holding facility. You're still dressed as you were. It looks like you're starting to go through processing, right? And I mean, I don't imagine they do like fingerprinting. So they're probably like doing some kind of like there's a little drone that comes in and it's going to scan your face. And a couple of the stormtroopers who had led you in here, one of them he puts his hand up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come with me, Doctor.
And then he takes your arm and tries to guide you out of here, but seems like he's not roughhousing you, which before they didn't really give two craps about your physical. Like they were moving you where you needed to go. They weren't going out of the way to hit you, but you were just a sack of potatoes to be moved around. But now he's like gesturing and he's guiding you. How do you handle that, Dr. Zardra?
Hold on for a second. Let me think this through for a second. We've also got Possum got pinched also. Is Possum nearby?
Yeah, Possum is nearby.
Yeah, I don't see how I can argue with this, or well, Maybe I can attempt to get them to bring possum as well.
You could try it.
I'm I'm gonna try. I don't know how to do that smartly. So let me think for a moment. And all right. It's my pleasure to accompany you. However, if my associate can come as well, unfortunately, we had to leave their stock of medicine behind. And without that, you're going to see a fairly increased amount of chaos within your holding cells in a very short time. It will add complications and paperwork.
Cool. So he's got a tag of acting on orders. So you're
Yep.
going to get a -1 to this.
Fair enough.
But let's go ahead and have you influence someone. And it felt like you leaned into smarts rather than trying to be charismatic. So I'll let you roll with smart.
All right. I got an 11
Jeez.
because paperwork is the worst.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So he says,
Right. I'll work on getting her processed, but Colonel Ipswich needs to speak with you alone.
Very well.
and then, yeah, true to his word, he's like, oh, yeah, this is a thing. We don't want medical priorities. And evidently whatever he was told gave a little bit more credence to what you just dropped about medicine. And you're led into that conference room where, of course, with his back to you, hands clasped behind his back, ramrod straight, military posture, you see none other than Colonel Voss Ipswich. And he turns and regards you. Dr. Zadra.
Colonel Ipswich.
And he walks over and he reaches for your hand like he wants to shake your hand, but then he grabs it and he slides the sleeve of your shirt, and he looks right at the tattoo on your arm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So you had the count at 87 then.
It would appear so.
Interesting. Project Funeral was a very important part of our efforts. Why are you here?
Currently, I have freedom to decide where I am going to spend my time. At the moment, it appears that I am needed here. So here I am.
Are you working on some kind of mission?
Could you clarify, please? Do you mean, am I working for someone? Do I have a greater purpose in life? Have I turned to religion? Is the Force with me?
Are you working for Admiral Corlin? Or are you working on your own with these ragamuffins here?
Well, I'm not working for any admiral. But if you would like to know more about the co-op that I'm a part of, I've recently acquired several important sponsors.
Excellent. That's very wonderful for you. Listen, if Admiral Corlin approaches you, you will not work for him, or you will tell him you will work for him, if that will save your life, and you will report it to me. Do you understand?
Your intentions are completely clear, Colonel Voss Ipswich.
You served the Empire for what it was necessary, and evidently you're not a needed tool at this time, Dr. Zadra. But now I know where you are. And I also know exactly how important you can be. Do not cause trouble. Do you understand?
I would not dream of being caught as the cause of trouble.
Woth is mine. The peace of Woth is my responsibility. Nothing like Project Funeral will happen here. Do you understand?
I understand that you place great store on peace. Many people do. It's admirable.
Thank you. Well, there's no reason to hold you here. I've already signed your release papers. You may go back out to the street. I'm sure that some of your rebel scum may think that you're working with us because you got off scot-free. I hope that doesn't cause an inconvenience to you, Dr. Zadra.
Well, people can think what they like.
But those 87, isn't that right?
Well, there's lots of people who can't think anymore. And a number of ways to achieve that. Good day to you, Colonel.
Good day, Doctor. See yourself out. And he'll turn. So let's catch up with Tassa. This will probably be our closing scene for the session. So Tassa, you and Krompon, you've carried some like seriously heavy druck, and you made it out from the troopers, and Krompon is laughing like, oh man, I can't believe we got out of there, man. You okay?
Sorry. Rich, I want to pitch you an idea, okay?
Yeah.
It looks like Dr. Zadra is gonna get off free here, right?
Seems like it. Yeah, that's
Seems like
exactly what's happening.
But it wouldn't be a good story without a little anarchy and chaos. Tassa
Okay.
doesn't know this, okay? And he has used his current popularity to recruit everyone that was at the bar to try to break Dr. Zadra free. And I think right as Dr. Zadra is being told, like, good day to you, in the holding cell, there is like a small area that faces outside with like maybe like 3 iron bars. And
Okay.
you hear this like doom, doom. We have a mob outside. We're all wearing possum masks. We have the big drum of the printer on a forklift, and we have chained up the forklift to the iron bars.
Mm-hmm.
And the actual like doom doom is like the beginning of a punk song
Okay.
called Going Gundark When the Lights Come On. And I think that we have a bunch of Ithorians like, whoa, like talking to each other, and like we have a driver trying to like break the wall free, right, with these chains that we've hooked up to the forklift, right? And
Okay.
I think that it's not going to be enough power, so Tassa is going to like jump on the wall, like put his feet on the wall, and he's going to try to like break it open, and I'd like to roll to see if it succeeds.
Okay. Let's see if you can break open this particular jail.
We are unnecessary jailbreak, but I just think it fits the fiction. So
That's great. So what is the right?
probably bones. Just actually
Yeah.
protect someone. Yeah.
Sure.
cool.
Because some stormtroopers are going to see what's going on, and yeah, we'll see if you are able to break out. There, maybe you saw Possum, but maybe there are a few other people who got arrested. We'll see if we can protect them and get them out.
Oh, cool. Yeah, awesome, possum. I'm gonna name Dr. S as my buddy system.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So protect someone is plus bones.
It is.
Okay, so I'm gonna add +3. All right, let's do this. All right, let's see if this works. All right. Sweet. 11.
An 11. Okay. So on an 11 with protect someone, you protect them, but take harm. You can extra effect though. So you can take less damage. You can move the victim where you want them. You can hurt the enemy or square up, become the enemy's focus.
Okay, let me look at that list one more time.
Sure.
Basic ones. Throw down, protect someone, take harm, add plus, add 10 plus, add an extra effect. Move. Okay. I'd like to. I think move the victim where you want them. I think, like, because it's a 10 plus, like we get to run away, like we get scot-free. Would you allow that?
Sure.
Okay, cool. I think that the way this looks on screen, Tassa does like get on the wall and like just breaks it open. The whole wall comes out, and then we see on screen he's like the chains have broken free essentially, and he's gonna take like that little bit of wall and be like, ah! And he's gonna toss it because that's how the Tassa do.
That's what Tassa do.
Yeah, and I think all the Ithorians have like, if this is the forklift, like all the Ithorians have like hopped on. And we have the drum right on the fork, and I'm wearing my mask, and I'm like, come on, Doc, let's go. And I think we're gonna catch a scene of like people breaking free, and I think we're gonna get scot-free. Tassa necessarily might not get off scot-free, but
I think there's a moment where like Dr. Zardra is looking at the release papers right in front and looking at the open hall, and then there's like that mental calculation, and then Dr. Zardra goes, my Confederates have arrived to rescue me. I must flee. Because it isn't a smart thing. And then completely buys into Tassa's plan and appears to break out, thereby subverting Colonel Ipswich's whole.
What a punk! You ruined Ipswich's desire to set you up to look like a narc. That is great. So we will close on you guys running out into the night. You hear the sound of a TIE fighter screaming overhead. There are troopers who are going to be going block by block, but you punks get away. So that will be the end of our session. I want to end a little bit on the early side so we can knock out the end of session questions and handle the stars and wishes. So at the end of a session, the authority, that's me, will ask the punks, that's you, the following questions which correspond to the guide to direct action. Did you spread the message of the revolution?
I'm gonna say, yeah, there was a concert. So
absolutely. Then everyone will mark 1 XP. Did you gain new allies or resources?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, you did. You certainly did. Did you interrupt a system of corruption?
Yes, I think we
the
did.
jailbreak counts as that.
You got a jailbreak.
I think not just the jailbreak, but also Vesia kind of interceding to steal LB away from, or LD from
LW.
LW. Sorry, I even made that and I screwed it up. Anyway, LW kind of stole him as an asset for Natsuki at this time. So that is another, yes, good stuff. And then the last one, did you protect the people from this happening again? That's a tough one. I don't know.
I would argue that Vasia has.
Oh, the LW saying we'll keep possums join off our radar as long as you and I are friendly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not protected everyone, right? But I don't feel we can
It's
ever
enough.
protect everyone, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
This specific thing has been
protect
off.
everyone who's in possum's joint. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well,
Good.
if also, if the show went well, didn't we protect everyone at least for a time?
Oh, that's true. Because you stopped the goons from roughing folks up, which was their intent. So you got that one as well. Awesome. So 1 XP across the board for that one, which means that everybody, because you're a group, right? It's not one person gets the XP. So you guys did those things, and that's 4 XP.
Which puts me on 1 extra XP and a full level up.
Good.
So I can't wait to look at all the other playbooks and see how I can boost my lying.
Like you really need to boost it. Come on.
I get to level up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I hid some of the lines for other playbooks, but it's probably easier just to go through the PDF. There are so many playbooks in this game. Not a complaint, just making sure you're aware. It's a lot of moves to look through. It's a whole lot. They did a lot of work on this thing. Some really, really neat stuff. Good. So let's move to stars and wishes. We'll begin with wishes so that we can end with stars. Wishes are, we're at the midpoint. Are there any milestones you're like, I absolutely need to see X, or I wish to see this in future sessions? Or if there's any still bits of confusion or rules aspects that you're like, I wish I knew more about, or I wish that we would utilize X, or if anyone is bold enough to offer critical feedback for things I can do better in the next 2 sessions, then I wish, Rich, you could do X or Y. Is totally acceptable. Who'd like to go first for wishes?
I can go first for wishes. So, I mean, the wishes I'm going to take as more kind of like the feedback as well, like the thorns or whatever, right?
Absolutely.
So, like, I feel like Tanstaffel still niggles away, because it feels as though we always move towards influence someone more than we move towards Tanstaffel, right?
Yeah.
I think that's maybe a product of coming up against adversaries more than reluctant allies, or like them having more position, perhaps, because Tanstaffel feels like mutual assistance rather than here's a whole pack of lies that I need you to believe so that you think that things are one way and I can convince you to do something else, right? But
plus, I mean, I'm sure it's got to be super tempting for you to want to do the lying because you're so freaking good at it.
Yes. And because they're coming at us, right? And it's a defense without punching people. I was on that note, I was wondering about like taking a debt from some of the people that we help. Because
you certainly
there's no
should.
such thing as a freelance.
Possum owes you guys all. Let's put a major debt. Everybody who pitched in on saving Possum's joint, take a major debt, and then Nebula owes you guys for saving the printing press. I think it's a major debt from Newly. I mean, it should be really everybody as well. So there's a couple that you guys are owed.
I owed a minor debt to Possum, so does that major debt become a medium debt and it gets canceled out? Can we say that?
Yeah, it definitely cancels out what you owe her, and yeah, that sounds good. You kind of went overboard, so now she owes you a minor debt. Does that sound cool?
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, that's pretty much it for my wishes.
That's a really good point. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, Bill. I appreciate it. All right, who'd like to go next on wishes?
I'll go next. I know that we had a couple of questions during the session about how tags work. And I think I have a better understanding now, but getting the tags in play, I noticed that we did this more than we did in the first session, where it was like, I think you at some point had a negative tag for someone, and we used, took advantage of a couple of tags that we had. I'm curious how much in the actual, rules of MoonPunk it's intended that, you use tags back and forth. Is this something intended to be used often, or is it just occasional?
I believe it's like there is an entire section on tags that goes for a couple pages. And I remember during the episode recording of +1 Forward, they like definitely pointed that out as a highlight. of things that are different from Apocalypse World. So I think that is pretty important to the designers, and I think that it's reflected pretty well in the mechanics. I think one of the things I kind of screwed up is in the basic moves. There is a bit about invoking tags, but it's like near the bottom. It's actually a bit of work to get there. So maybe I should have placed that a little bit better on the basic moves.
The only concern I'd have is, we have a certain narrative structure when we're looking at our moves and, XP and what's driving our characters.
Mhm.
And adding tags on top of that is another addition. And I'm not sure if that would become unwieldy and cause something else to drop off the radar. So it'll be interesting to see. I think we did it well this session with the, occasionally hitting tags. So.
Yeah, I like tags, but I like the one thing I like most about this, the way this is worked out, is like the most you're going to be is +1 or -1, right? The idea that you don't stack them makes it a lot slicker. It's like, do I have a tag that applies? If yes, +1. If no, fine. If 3 of them apply, sorry, +1. Don't lobby your case. I like that because I get a little skeevy when somebody's like, well, this and this and this and this all tags and this and this. And it's just like, you're not wrong, but like I'm not here to play a board game. So it gets a bit much for me. Also math. But anything that I can do to continue to influence the use of tags, I'd like to, because I think it's an interesting aspect of the system. And I say aspect as a fake joke. Do you like that? Is that good? It's like, no, I'll shut up.
It feels like Read the Room ought to have the ability to put a tag on something.
Damn, that's a good suggestion.
Like it says on the tags thing that the moves let you put in tags, but none of the basic moves seem to say that. But in Fate, that's what Read the Room would do.
Yep.
And right now it's just questions.
That's a real good suggestion.
It does seem as though a lot of the basic move, invoke, like add a tag to someone, are part of like radical effects, like advanced moves. Because I assumed you got the invoke a weapon effect tag, right, as a positive for plus bones, but none of us are really carrying like stun gun or whatever, right, to invoke a tag. But it does feel as though like you're right. I keep wondering where's the sort of like on a success as an option instead of doing damage, invoke a tag or something, like
that would be cool. That's a really cool idea. Like I almost went and typed that in because I like it so much. The idea of just adding a tag to a thing is pretty cool.
I would second. I would like to see the tags and maybe even like the ranks of tags, because like getting punched is a minor one, right? Getting your arm shot off is like a major one, and then but then they can be like social as well, can't they? It'd be interesting to see like.
Yeah, the temporary needs attention, permanent tags are all pretty interesting things. You guys.
It's interesting. There's actually a section in the character sheet that you were just pointing out, Rich, that has a list of tags that I should probably take more advantage of, putting them in place. So, someone said in the chat that do some of the characters who just did the jailbreak get tags for being jailbreak?
Oh God, that's great. Let's yes. So Dr. Zardra and Tassa, let's give you the needs attention tag of wanted. Is that cool? Sound fun? That's a good note. Thank you.
I would argue that Dr. Zardra is not wanted.
But they didn't sign the papers. But then Ipswich isn't going to send you. No, it's just Tassa. Tassa, you get wanted. Yeah, okay. You're right. Zardra, you can claim wanted, but it's not really a tag.
Can I pitch you also that this will also increase my popularity amongst the anarchists? And so could I maybe also add popular?
You could have
couldn't you tag wanted positive and negative, like with the
That's true. There you go. That's a good. That's a really good point. So wanted is positive and negative, which is one of the cool things about the tag system for MoonPunk. Thank you for that. Good suggestion.
I went and I noted that I owe Tassa a major because I feel like that is fair. Also, I want to point out this is exactly why you're so hard to beat in Dejarix sometimes. Because who the fuck sees that shit coming? Sorry, watch my language. But
cool. Steven, did you have any other wishes?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, cool. Who's next, Jason or Francisco?
Oh, real quick. Oh, this is a wish, so I'll go next. I wish to add to the fiction that Tassa stuck his head in the bars right before he ripped them open and called out a Dejaric maneuver named after a famous Chiz admiral. And so Dr. S knew exactly what was coming and what to do next. I think that'd be really awesome. Wishes are I wish to understand how healing works, and I wish to understand how tags work better. So I think just for myself, I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna reread that before we play next.
Okay,
And
cool.
I think my wishes are just like, I just want more of the same, which is Rich, you know, you're doing a great job, like sort of setting up things for Tassa to do that are Tassa like.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. All right, Jason, you're up. What wishes do you have?
Well, I think my squelch idea didn't work as well as I would have liked to have in the fiction. So that's a wish for me to try and think through stuff that a little bit better. I think Dr. Zardra for me is interesting because they are extremely emotionally invested in the movement, but convey coolness. And I'm not certain if that always is coming through, because you are, especially with the NPCs, pressing all of their buttons and making them real angry. And I try to do it passive aggressively, so I hope it's coming through.
Oh, it so did. It so did. I thought there was going to be a little snit there.
Yeah. And you know, one thing I was thinking about, but I didn't really have time to set up, and that I wanted Possum for, was I was thinking about Possum's terrible beer, and thinking, you know, I've got all this extra freaking wheat that I don't want. What if I helped make beer that was more sustaining beer, like the Egyptian bread beer, that one will get you messed up, but two actually provides nutrients to people who think they're too good to take the free food. And so I wanted to try and set something up with Possum to get this kind of bread beer into their place. And then I was going to try and get Newly into it and completely abandon their much more lucrative plan for my plan, which will not make any money, but will help found the revolution, by God.
That's cute. I gotta
so
see that on
that's
screen.
the thing I wanted to start. That's the reason I wanted to say Possum, was to do that. So something to work towards.
Cool. Thank you very much, Jason. And since you went last on wishes, you get to go first with stars. So we do it in snake order. What stars would you like to hand out?
Oh man. So this was super fun. I think punk is tricky just because it is, when we say the word, comes up with a stereotype in our mind. And then between these characters, you get such a variety of punk and what that means. And I think it's always a complex conversation to have. I love how music was worked into the system. I love how Francisco embodies that, and I benefit from your knowledge, because it is a knowledge base I do not have. Much like Dr. Zardra, I am the person who is always off on the side, appreciating without knowledge.
And my mom said that I wasted all my time listening to that punk music in the 90s, and little did she know it would come into play later.
Yeah. And just, there are so many excellent scenes from each of the players. And I mean, the villains are villainous, and I love Newly telling the Neb to book while they're ripping apart the printer. I love Vasya talking down L-Dub. Like, the thing is, like, there is no way I could have predicted anything that these characters did. And as somebody who's playing a species known for thinking 20 gajillion steps ahead, like, I appreciate it as a player, and also as this character, I think that they appreciate it on the basis that this is exactly why they think this is where they need to be. The sheer unpredictability and volatility of the situation is why they are there. their ability to not see what's coming is why they are there.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate it. Francisco, you're up next. What stars?
Oh man, so many stars. I had so much fun. Jason, super cool setup for your character. I love the way you're playing your character as the cool and collected Chiss, and who's like involved with anarchists. I think that's so great, and I love the relationship setup that you and I have. I think it's really awesome. Will, man, such a great job, like playing to your character strengths. Again, it's a game about anarchy, right? But it's so cool to see Vesia like always smooth it over and do the trading of favors and stuff. So that was really awesome. Steven, I love your yes and-ing during the whole show, and also setting up our like doing what our characters do best. That was really cool. And specifically, Steven, thank you for accepting the framing of the scene that I pitched you, or the adding to the fiction of your character that I pitched you. Thank you so much.
Which one was that?
When I was like, if it's cool with you, you're trying to repair the band is doing this, I'm doing that.
Yeah. It seemed natural, so that's good.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's always really nice to, and all of you do this, including you, Rich. Like, it's really nice to play with people who yes and the mess out of the story and just add on top of that. It's just so much fun to do that. And Rich, yeah, I gotta give you a star for that too. Thank you for allowing me to set up scenes, allowing me to set up fiction, and just, especially that last jailbreak. That was a big ask, right? But thank you for going with it. I just have, like, I'm the forever GM, and so I'm I'm used to setting up scenes, but it's really, really neat when I get to do it as a player. And so thank you for allowing me to do that.
No problem, Francisco. Thank you. Steven, you're up. Stars do you have?
So let's see. So, it was I really had a great session. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed how well everybody embodied their character, and getting to know Dr. Zardra was really nice and really fleshed out the group. And everyone had spotlight moments. I think that's fantastic. So, I mean, I can't put much more on top of that. It was just great. Yeah.
Cool.
I do have an ask.
Yes.
So at some point, I think it was in the chat off to the side, I was talking with Jason about direction of characters, and I think you brought up something about healing at some point, and I want to make sure that I don't stomp on any of the healing stuff that you might want to do as a doctor. So let me know if there's something you'd like to do or something like that.
Yeah, like I said in the chat, when I originally thought of Dr. Zardra, I was thinking of a medical doctor.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I really appreciate that you took the prosthetic thing. It's, in terms of the original system, I think it's a flaw because I don't like it when two characters have moves that they can take that accomplish the same thing. But in terms of this specific thing, being pushed away from my first idea, let me be associated with Punks with Lunch. Let me play something that was not a typical doctor. I'm a huge fan of Dr. Aphra in the Star Wars universe. She is hands down my favorite Star Wars character, not just extended or anything like that. I love her. So eventually I might take something medical for Dr. Zardra. The Sawbones move is similar to the prosthetic one, the only difference is at the end you don't have a cool prosthetic. You are just better. So I might take it eventually, but for now, honestly, I feel like your choice makes both our characters better.
Okay.
Because it created the link between you and Tassa, and it made me think outside of the box I would have put myself in.
Cool. That was a good convo. Thank you. Will, you're last. You're dead last.
Yeah. Stars, Rich, thank you for letting me, pull all this bullshit. literally.
So slippery. So slippery.
Yeah, it's that move of the like make people believe something that you've just made up or the truth or what. And I'm looking forward to using the tags in more of that way. I mean, stars to everybody for all the stuff. Toss's daytime jailbreak of the thing, kicking up the escalation, I think is perfect for the sort of the wildness of it all. Nearly breaking down the press was a brilliant idea, and I thought that was like the only thing that was only possible because we had the tech character. Like I think otherwise we would have struggled. I think we would have struggled to say that like that's even a thing we could do, right? And Dr. Saz Salada, I have to say that my biggest star has to go for the Solo Command reference because I love Race Squadron so much. So yeah. Biggest star is anything that makes me go like, oh god, that's from Race Squadron.
I did research.
Jason went deep. Deep. Awesome. This was great. Thank you all so much for playing. I'm really enjoying this. It's like this is one of those games where I go, man, I wish there was like 4 more sessions of this because now we're halfway done. It's like, oh no. So we'll see you guys next week as we continue punking it around on Wolf.